what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the EnteR ChazmaN podcast, where, as always, this is your favorite place to hear all of the nerdy video game news that has kind of intrigued me and my friends throughout the week. Normally there is stuff on the screen, but apparently someone didn't feel like doing his weekly duties, so I'm the one taking care
hold
of
on,
everything.
no. So, for clarity, I had
Are we even live?
I think we're live.
Oh, we're live.
So normally I set up the stream, do the OBS layout and all that stuff. And Chaz decided to mock me this past week when I shot out a picture of my workstation. He's like, well, why don't you upgrade your home workstation since you're our OBS master? And he hurt my feelings. So now he is running our OBS stream this week. And apparently he thought I was kidding, so he didn't decide to start prepping till about 20 minutes before we actually went live. So you guys get what you get. So there you go.
Yeah,
Failure.
I feel like it looks okay considering it's like last second. But I don't know what's going on with you guys. How have you been since the last time we had a proper podcast episode?
I've been good because I didn't have to stress out about setting up the OBS channel, so it's been smooth sailing all week.
I haven't been sleeping much.
Hey, I know the feeling.
You making fun of Blitz because of that?
But I got to beat Hell House. Yay! I got to play a little bit.
And my anniversary was yesterday, so.
Oh, congratulations!
Went to Fujiyama
now.
11 years.
11 years. Yeah.
1,000 years. Wow, that's long.
Yeah, after like 10 years, it feels like 1,000 years. Oh, my wife doesn't watch that.
Quack, quack. I understand.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Congrats. Fujiyama's always a good time.
Yeah.
You've had several good times there.
Yeah.
Don't give our location away too much now.
There's several Fujiyamas. I think we're safe. So.
Yeah, we're the one. We're the one in Wisconsin.
All right, so just to get everyone updated, if you just want to know some of our major topics from this week, we're going to be talking about a specific game me and Phoenix played. I'm not quite sure if our other two buddies have had the chance to play it yet, but we'll be talking about that. And then we got our highlights from the Horde as always. We've got the Xbox Developers Direct. We'll be talking about that happened. That's probably the oldest of the stories we have. And then we're going to be going into the problems with Halo. We got what's going on with E3. We got James Gunn and DC. And also going to be talking about some of our updates for the High Score Olympics. And then we got our main topics, which is us getting to talk about The Last of Us as we kind of did last week. So a continuation of that. So, I don't know. What did you guys want? You guys want to go right into what you're playing?
Yeah, why not? Are we starting out with Hi-Fi, or does anybody else have anything they want to talk about for a little bit? I know, Metal, you've still been wrapping up Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah, my time has been kind of limited, so I'm trying to get a little bit more into it. There's a couple of games that I saw on the horizon that I want to play, and I want to see if I can at least tap upon it for the next podcast.
Okay.
I got 2 games in mind. So.
I've been playing Baldur's Gate, which is kind of related to show and tell. I'll show you guys a little bit later when we get to that portion. I really like it. It's polished out. If you haven't played it, when it first came out, it was really buggy.
Are you talking about Baldur's Gate 3?
No, it's just called Baldur's Gate.
But it's still the third one.
Like, yeah, I guess it came. Yeah, it came out last year.
Right, there was like alpha. Came out of alpha.
Okay. Yeah, it was in beta, and now I think is it still considered beta? I don't know, but
I think it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's officially released yet, but it could be wrong.
But it feels like a full game. I probably put like 30 hours into it, and I feel like I'm nowhere even close to where they want me to be.
Nice.
I spent a lot of time exploring. Yeah, it's the graphics are really good. The storyline is engaging. So
Baldur's Gate has always been a really fun game, though.
I haven't played Baldur's Gate since maybe 2, and I did like the spinoff like Dark Alliance. I played those.
Yeah, he's talking about Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that came out in 2020. Well, the early access.
Yeah.
Early access.
Nice.
Cool, man.
And I've also been playing Civilization too, but
that's like your go-to game, isn't it?
I play it with the wife. It's really good.
Cool.
It's fun time with the wife. Turn-based. You don't have to really think too much and just. I like my turn-based games, which I should get more into Final Fantasy because it is kind of turn-based.
Well, I
Well,
mean, it's RTS more than turn
Well,
based, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
I like the RTS as well.
Right.
So
Cool.
neat.
I can't remember the last RTS I played. It was probably like Halo Wars 2 or something, which I really enjoyed that
Halo
one.
Wars.
It's been a while since I played one. I wanted to play Gears Tactics, but I never got around to playing that one. Or was that an RTS? No,
Yeah.
that was
an RTS.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like the Gears of War world. But just before we go into Hi-Fi-Rush, I actually wanted to drop one on you. I have been playing another game. I would say it's not as serious, or I don't consider. I don't want to be mean to mobile games. It's a mobile game, but I got around to playing the game. I've been playing like a lot. Whenever in my free time, I've been playing this little game called Marvel Snap. Have you guys heard of
You got
this?
sucked into that?
I got sucked into it. Yeah. I'm having a lot of fun with this game. Do you guys know what it is?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I don't know. I've been hesitant to jump into it.
was it like Pokemon Go or something?
No, it's like a deck builder, right?
It's a card game.
Oh, really?
It's a deck building card game. I'm hesitant to throw too much praise at it because I know, just like with what was it, Diablo Immortal, there may come a time when stuff opens up that like you got to start paying for or something. But I would say so far with everything that's been free, I'm having a blast with this game. It is like I've been playing it a ton at work. Restroom time, Marvel Snap time.
For what I've heard, the microtransactions aren't super egregious. Like, they're definitely there, but I think they give you enough meat without having to dig into that still makes it, substantial.
Who's it made by?
I don't know, actually. Actually, don't know. That's a good question. I'm not gonna. I got too much on my screen.
Yeah,
I'll look it up while you're
to start looking up. But yeah, it's really fun. The way they incentivize you to keep playing essentially is, I mean, one, you can earn cards and all sorts of stuff. But another thing I like is that they have like these different levels to the cards that is really cool. Like they start off looking like a basic card, and then they have like a frame break where the character's like coming out, and then they also have 3D where the background becomes cool. Like as you keep going, if you look, or I'll pull it up. If you look, like there's different cards that look differently. Some might be 3D, some might be, like I said, frame break and everything. And they do a really good job of like making you care about the cards. Like the art is like really well done. In the middle, if you look there, there's always three different locations within the Marvel universe, and each of those locations have a different effect on the field. And some of the cards have effects of their own, and some don't. Some are higher level, some are lower level. It's really cool. I'm really enjoying it so far.
It says the developer is Newverse, and then Second Dinner Studios. I don't know anything about either of those.
Second Dinner.
I'm all about second breakfast. Say.
I love breakfast.
But cool. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I don't know. I haven't gotten into a deck builder in a long time, so I was hesitant to try this one out. But heard good things.
And I think what I especially like about it is coming off of Vampire Survivors, the play sessions can go on so long with Vampire Survivors, and it's really nice moving on to something else where like the play sessions for this game are like 2, 3, 4 minutes. Like, it all depends on how good you are, how good your opponent is, and I don't know. It's nice. It's like quickly get in, get out. You earn XP whether you win or lose, and it's like if you win, obviously you get more. And they also have a if you look at the top of the screen, there's like a little box there. What is that? I think that's what are those things in the Marvel? What's the Thanos thing he wanted? The
Infinity Stone?
Yeah,
Tesseract?
I think it's like a Tesseract or Infinity Stone, and like it's almost like poker where like if you feel like you get a good hand and you're doing well, you can click that, and it like you're declaring you're gonna win this hand, and you earn more if you. It's really cool when you start getting into it. And once again, if you're a Marvel fan and you like all the art's like awesome. Like I love just about everything. Oh, I'm actually seeing some I haven't even seen yet. That Mysterio, that's cool. But it actually looks like they have different form. I didn't even realize there's different artworks for like singular characters. But it's awesome. Like, every time you click on a card, the character does one of their like iconic moves? Are they like when you go to grab, what's Chris Pratt, Star-Lord? When you if you click on Star-Lord to move him to the field, he like jetpacks in there. It's really well done. I will say this game's been getting a lot of praise, and I would agree. I'm very much enjoying it.
All right,
in the form it is right now.
Neat.
I don't know.
well, maybe I'll try it out. Like, if you got into it, like, could I play against you, or is it all random kind of battles?
I think it's random. I haven't tried. I mean, I don't have friends, so I don't know who I would look.
Do you have
who I would look to play with me, but I don't know. It's pretty random. I think you just kind of click play, and it just throws you in with somebody.
Okay, fair enough.
It's fun. I'm enjoying it. I didn't want to go on too long. It is kind of just a card game, but it's a really well done for a mobile Marvel game. I'm enjoying it.
Cool. I might check it out. As I've been hearing a lot about it for a while now, so if you're playing it, maybe I'll jump into. We'll see.
I'm installing it right now.
Nice.
So,
I don't know. Especially coming off of Vampire Survivors, where I couldn't get past death. I'm enjoying this.
It's almost impossible to get past death. Like, you have to either have a crazy build to get through it, or you almost have to, like, cheese it. So don't feel bad if you keep getting killed.
I even tried. I looked it up how to beat death in a specific way, and I even did it the exact way that the person was telling me, and I'm like, he's still demolished. Because I did it in, like, level 2, whatever the library is.
Yeah, you're supposed to, like, hide. Yeah.
I tried hiding behind, like, a bookcase behind the chair, and he just blasts through the chair and kills me, and I'm like, what?
The trick is not to worry about killing him. Try to do other things, unlock other characters. I finally unlocked certain characters and builds that I killed him without even trying at a certain point. Like, the game gets just ridiculous. I've sent you some of those crazy screenshots, but either way.
All right, but this isn't about Vampire Survivors, even though I enjoyed Vampire Survivors. Okay, so we're moving on to our main game that me and Phoenix at least have been playing. Have you guys? I mean, I find it hard to believe you haven't heard anything about it, but have you guys heard anything about HI-FIRUSH?
I haven't. This is the first time I'm hearing about it.
I saw it.
It's hard to believe, man. Everyone's been talking about it since
I've been under a rock.
Yeah. I saw it. I downloaded it. I've been meaning to play it, and I just haven't turned on my Xbox.
Well, Phoenix, since I talked before, you want to start explaining how you feel about it?
Sure. I mean, I'll give the premise of it first.
Did you get to finish it? You finished the entire game?
Yeah, I finished it.
Because I'm like in the last 2 to 3 hours. Yeah.
It looks super fun.
So it's a rhythm action game where everything you do is on the beat, essentially. So, like, as you walk, you're stepping to the beat. The things in the environment are to the beat. You attack to the beat.
1440 is too much. Way too much.
Oh,
1080.
yeah, you shouldn't be streaming much if you're also streaming the podcast. It's going to kill it.
Yeah, I know. I know.
But anyways, yeah, so it's a rhythm-based action game. And the big thing I think that really kind of caught people off guard is just the aesthetic of it. It's, like, super cartoony, cell-shaded. And it comes from the developers who did The Evil Within. So, like, it's a really, contrasting difference in not only gameplay styles, but art direction. So, it was cool. It was also shadow dropped. So, during that Xbox Direct that we're going to talk about in a little bit, they just announced that, hey, we've been working on this surprise game, and it's available now. Woo! So,
nice.
So, I mean, I enjoyed it. I kind of want to hear what Chaz thinks about it first, because I've already finished it, so I don't want my ending feeling to really bias you by any means. So tell me what you think about it as far as what you've played so far, and then I'll kind of tell you where I'm going on it.
I'm loving it. I think it's great. I struggle to think of any part of it that I dislike. I would say maybe one thing that I have a problem with, like, I'm just choosing something to talk about. That's like one of the few negatives I have. But for me, I feel like in certain portions when you're not in combat, it feels slow.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that that's for a reason. I think his run is supposed to be to the beat of the music that's happening. But he still feels like he moves a little bit slow. Like I would kind of was hoping for like a sprint or something. You know what I mean? But there's no like.
Yeah, no, that is one of my
it seems
big issues
intentional,
too.
obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, to kind of add to that, so like I said, every step you take, you move to the beat. Here's one of the issues I had with the game. I'm a big music guy, so I love rhythm games in general, but the game beat doesn't really change much. Like throughout the entire game, you've got the same 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. The tempo doesn't really seem like it ever picks up or slows down. So just saying, that is your step the entire game. Step, 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 step. Never gets faster, never gets slower. And the default tempo, or quote unquote speed, is not really quick enough for my liking as far as like general traversal, which there's a lot of in this game. I was kind of surprised. I thought this game was to be a little more combat driven. Granted, there is a lot of combat, but there's also a lot of exploring, finding collectibles, that kind of thing. And that for me dragged a lot with just that kind of slower walking or, you know, stepping pace. So I do wish they would have done a little more with that. Like if you get to an intense section, the tempo picks up or something, so you run faster. That would have been neat.
Oh, totally. Sorry. I was
He's blind.
back over.
Kind of the same ends too. So I mean, I did enjoy, or I enjoyed the game. I'm still enjoying the game. I wish they would have done more though with the whole fact of everything is tied to a rhythm. As I said, everything is tied to just a standard 4 forward tempo. They do add different stuff where it's like trying to mess around with the offbeats and whatnot, so it does get a little more syncopated. It's still 4-4. They never try to go for like any 3-4 timings or 6-8 or something, just kind of throw it up a little bit or increase the BPMs at all. And I get why. They wanted to try to probably make a very consistent feel to the combat, so keeping it at kind of a structured tempo was probably intentional, but I wish they would have done a little more to kind of push that. So I think it would have helped the flow or kind of the pacing moving around a little bit and just make it a little more interesting. But
yeah, I mean, I would say probably I mean, kind of, you know, branching off of that, I would say like all of the praise kind of being thrown upon it and everything. I feel like in some ways it's a little bit much. Like I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's a 10," but I wouldn't call it a 10. I would say for me, as of right now, it's probably like an 8 or a 9-ish. 9 if on a good day, but probably 8 or 9. I just think that Xbox has been in such of a rut in terms of like major games that they have that are exclusive, that like the first game they get where everyone seems to be enjoying it, you know, you know what I mean? It feels like people are overcompensating just a little bit.
I think it's part of that, and it's possible part of it just kind of came out of nowhere. Like no one had any built-up expectations about it, good or bad. It just dropped out of nowhere. It was this fairly refreshing style of game. Like, I mean, every game nowadays, you know, is dark and broody and gray and brown, and this is a very colorful, action-oriented game with, to be fair, some really good dialogue, some really good interactions between the characters. The animation is top-notch, so it's really fun to look at and engage with. And you know, it's a different style of game, a rhythm-based action game. We don't see stuff like that too often, so it's a solid game. I don't want to take that away from it by any means. I think once again it's just kind of recency hype more than anything else, and people are kind of all you know, jumping on, oh, this is a 10 or whatnot. I think the game, over the next couple of months, as people spend a little more time with it, will settle into, you know, a slightly, I don't know, not quite as high tiered ranking, but it's a solid game. I enjoyed it. The ending, I think, of the game is a lot better. Like the second half, a lot better than the first half. The first half to me was really slow because the game kind of trickles, giving you new techniques and giving you new like movement capabilities.
I've enjoyed the first half a little more so far, but I think it's just because I feel like
I felt limited.
Well, I agree with you in terms of the gameplay, but I think in terms of like the cutscenes and the story, humor, I feel like a lot of that is better in the first half. But I could see where you're coming from with the gameplay improving in the second half.
Yeah, maybe the story and banter and dialogue, that's good throughout. I mean, you could say there's lulls in certain areas, but the gameplay is real like slow at first, probably because they're trying to introduce people who aren't really good at rhythm games to this rhythm structure. But I think for those who acclimate to rhythm games a little more quickly, you feel kind of restrained. Like like the game doesn't let you block right off the bat, it doesn't let you dodge right off the bat. Like these are things you learn like 3-4 levels into the game, and I'm like, they could have showed me that way earlier and I would have had a lot more fun. So by the time you unlock your basic move set, it's like a third to halfway through the game. And I feel like I just could have, you know, utilized those techniques a little more and got more enjoyment out of it. But once it does pick up, it's solid. I felt like the levels were pretty long, like maybe a little too long. And there's some like, I don't know, I want to say like stretched out sections. Like I think I could have played longer sessions with that kind of one more level feeling if they weren't quite as long. Each level is almost an hour long. There's 12 levels or so, you know, not a terribly long game, but if you're trying to like a quick midnight, or not midnight, but late night session, it's hard to want to play one more level knowing it's at least an hour more of commitment. So that was my issue with the length.
What do you think about the main characters? Are they the new what is it, Xbox mascots that some people are talking about them being. I don't think so, but I do think they are like this could be a big franchise for Xbox. I definitely think
I don't think
a
this will be a
sequel.
franchise. This
Really?
feels like a one and done to
It's a
me. Like
one-off,
this reminds me.
like
This game is a mix
like
of
a
like
Catherine or
no.
something.
This is more of a Sunset Overdrive.
I was about to say Sunset
Okay.
Overdrive,
Yeah.
and everyone thought that was going to be like a staple new IP. And
Part of that was the whole issue with Insomniac. Like Insomniac created Sunset Overdrive, and then Sony pretty much locked them in making Spider-Man until they die. So that I think is part of the issue there. But I don't see this being like a sequel thing. I feel like they're going to milk this for other mediums. Like this is ripe for a television show, something like that. Like they already did that with Cuphead, but this is like already done. Like the animation's there, the voice actors there. Like they could turn this to a show real quick, and I think it would do really well because the animation, the voice acting, the characters are excellent.
Since you bring up that point, there is something I mentioned on my stream, on one of my streams, that I definitely wanted to bring up. After seeing some of the recent Dragon Ball movies and the TV show, how does this game look so much better than some of those? I'm just bringing Dragon Ball because that's what I've tried watching to an extent in certain areas. How does this art style like? It just dwarfs it. It makes it look so much better.
I don't know.
Like,
I love the art style of Kakarot. I've been playing Kakarot too lately, and
I don't know about the newer game. I'm talking about just the shows and the recent movies.
Oh,
like,
I thought you were talking about the games.
I think this looks way better than some of those.
Yeah, the animation, I don't know. It's hard to define it because technically they're doing the same type of style. Like you're talking about the new
shading.
the DBS movies. The animation just fell off in the movies a little bit. And part of it, like Japanese animation, the quality jumps up and down because we know like those animators right now are under a lot of strain. There's hiring shortages and whatnot. So I think getting quality animation consistently, even like a movie, can be tricky from Japanese developers. So that would be my kind of thought process there. Why maybe the Dragon Ball movie didn't look as good. But I don't know. I mean, I think this style can look really good. I mean, this game I think is kind of a testament to that. So it's not that I'm necessarily opposed to Dragon Ball using this kind of style in the future. They just got to spend more time polishing up the animation so it doesn't look kind of janky. But this game did really well at it. There were actually parts in this game where it switched from the 3D cell style to an actual 2D animation and cutscenes. It took me a moment to even tell it happened. So I think that's a real testament to how good the 3D cell shading looks, that it looks like 2D animation 99% of the time.
No, I agree. So I don't know. I think it's fair to say I don't think the ending's probably gonna affect. I feel like I've enjoyed the experience a lot up to this point. So if the ending's good, like you said, fantastic. I'm trying to say I don't know if I feel like I need to talk more about it.
No, that's fair. No, this is a solid game. It's not a perfect game. There's definitely things.
I mean, on the next podcast, I don't know if I need to come back and say, oh, the ending was good, like Phoenix said. Like I don't know what else I have to add.
The combat just picks up a lot towards the end, which I enjoyed. But no, this is a good game. This is Sunset Overdrive meets Scott Pilgrim the movie. So if either of those things checks a box off for you, this is going to be a fun time. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
This kind of reminds me a little bit of like the style of Elite Beat Agents. The more I look at it, it's like just fast pace. Yeah, it's a 3DS game.
Actually, I found that at a flea market for like $2 the other day.
It is a fantastic game, a fantastic game. But it's a lot of like swipe and touch, touch, smash and swipe, and a lot of like the whole thing with the those little rings and stuff. They use all that stuff. And they also use the cell shading, a lot of it too. So it gives me that. So if I had to give comparisons, it looks like Sunset Overdrive mixed with Elite Beat Agents.
I agree with you guys, though. I think this game will probably go down as like a very memorable. Oh shoot, what's the word for
surprise
a movie?
Release?
Cult hit.
Cult classic. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. Like you were saying, Sunset Overdrive, maybe like Asuda's Wrath. Like you guys remember Asuda's Wrath?
It's a solid game. Like Sunset Overdrive, I thought was a really fun time, but it was just kind of a one and done thing, and then just kind of faded off. But solid game. So this is great to see in Xbox's library of games. I can't say that you should run and buy an Xbox for it or anything, but it's also on Game Pass on PC. That's actually how I played about half of it. So if you got PC,
sponsorship.
Yeah.
Now, if only Microsoft would get on. Maybe making a Smash Bros. Like game sometime. You can add him in there.
There's so many of those clones.
They have so many different characters though.
Could have him fight Master Chief.
Oh boy. Another clone? That's all we need.
Okay, so that's all I had to say. I mean, I'm very much enjoying it. Sounds like Phoenix is really enjoying it. We will definitely talk about it again when we talk about the developer direct topic.
Is it on Game Pass by chance, or
yeah,
is
it is.
Okay, I'll download that.
Plus,
I'll take a stab at it.
Plus, I think it's especially surprising. Again, talking about Tango GameWorks, which it's like all they do is make spooky games.
Yeah.
It's like, what a strange. I don't know. I think they said that the guy who was behind it, this was like a passion project. So I don't know, kind of cool.
That's good. It lets the developers show that they can kind of stretch their wings a little bit, so it helps them maybe have opportunity to do some other types of games they've been wanting to do. Like, I know a lot of times developers get kind of shoehorned into, this is the type of game we make, and then their publishers kind of force them to keep making that game. So the fact that Microsoft kind of let them go this direction and branch out might say, some cool, interesting things about where this developer could go in the future.
I think to an extent that's what they've done with Redfall. Redfall seems like a bit of a, letting what's that developer? Bethesda, Arcane. Is it Arcane?
Yeah,
letting them kind of try something new, even if that
different,
may not
but
look...
it's not. Like, I can see where Redfall is a mixture of, there's a little bit of Dishonored in there, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's still a shooter-based kind of mechanic, so it's not that far to left field, I think, for them. Like, this game is completely opposite of, like, Tokyo, Ghostwire Tokyo, and Evil Within. This is completely opposite of that. So, but either way, we can talk about that in a little bit when we get to the direct. Actually, is that where we're going next? Are we at that point?
Well, we have highlights from the Horde. Next. No.
All right, ready to move on then?
I don't have your screens individualized, so this will have to do. See what you're.
How do we look on the stream? I'm just curious. Does it show all of us and the video?
It just shows. It has
He's just basically streaming our Discord interface, where it just has all of our faces and the screen.
Oh, okay.
It's not going to be as fancy this time.
All right. So who wants to go for? Oh, I guess real quick. Highlights from the Horde is our little section where we like to kind of pick an item from our collections, from our hordes, and I don't know, talk about why we have it, why it means so much to us, why we're losers for keeping it around.
We're talking too. It's getting harder to do this. I think partially because we all got a bunch of things, but to find very unique, memorable items, I think is tricky. I've tried to avoid just grabbing a random game off the shelf and just talking about it. So
that's exactly where I'm at. Yeah.
So I think I had mentioned this to Metal. Maybe moving forward, we can come up with a theme or type of item we want to look for from a collection. So I don't know, favorite horror-like item or nostalgic item or N64 item, and that might help kind of focus our horde identification a little bit. I don't know. So we can talk about it, but either way, what do we got for this evening? Who wants to go?
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Let's get Kyle.
Yeah. All right.
So relating to Baldur's Gate, I did pick this up at the thrift store.
You have a gate?
Store. No, it is Dungeons and Dragons. I got the.
How thick is that thing?
This is the
oh my god!
Dungeon Master. No, hold on. I got all of them.
Oh my god! I can't look at those. Oh god! It hurts my head.
A 5th edition, and I paid $20. That's $5 a book.
Nice.
Oh, they're probably on edition who knows what, and half those rules are freaking obsolete now.
No, it's 5th edition. I think that's the latest edition.
Is it the latest? All right. Oh my god.
Some poor guy.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was at the.
Some poor kid lost his collection.
His mom got
mad. I believe it.
Cleared off his campaign on a table and just threw it in a box.
Yeah, the book itself, it says $50.
Yeah,
and they almost
not cheap.
Brand new.
Well, they're not cheap.
I still want to get into D&D a little bit. I've mean to for a long time. I got another buddy who's trying to get me into Warhammer, and
oh boy.
Yeah, I think I don't have a choice. He already bought the game and everything, so I think I'm gonna have to do it. But
I
got a Dungeon Master's guide now, so.
I mean,
we could do a Dungeon Master or a D&D live stream kind of thing like this. We have the virtual campaign board. Just get together and do it this way. I'd be down for that.
That'd be cool.
Would you have to have time to do something like that?
Oh, I'm so sorry that you're so busy.
But you know what you couldn't find time to do? Figure out how OBS works. So.
Yeah.
Not even gonna start. Actually, I had a similar story where I went to Goodwill one time and I found like probably 5 or 6, 5 hardcover collector's books for World of Warcraft. Turned around, sold them to somebody on offer up. I think it was for like $100 or something.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Dude,
paid
that's
like-
pretty
I
good.
paid
That's
like-
pretty
I
good.
paid like $1 or $2 each for them. I was like,
Dang. 100%.
I missed the flipping
1000%
days.
profit.
No, I don't miss the flipping days. That sucks. But
Yeah, it's tedious. At least nowadays it is.
Mhm.
All right, who wants to
Cool.
go next?
I guess I'll go real quick.
All right.
So this is actually a continuation of a previous item I've shown. But if you don't know, I'm a huge fan of these Beckett books, and I got like an entire stack more I've been meaning to show. So if you don't know, Beckett's was the comics that they sold in stores years ago that just had
Dude, I remember that
statistics and pricing stuff for all sorts of cards. And recently, my mom, just somewhere in the garage, I guess, found an entire more stack of these things. I figured I'd show them off because I love these things. They're getting heavy now. So we have one for Yu-Gi-Oh's, or that's
Dark Magician.
Pokemon, I should say.
Yeah,
that was
I
Yu-Gi-Oh.
remember that one.
No, I was kidding. It's you.
I
Oh,
remember seeing that years ago, man. The Dark Magician one.
Got another Yu-Gi-Oh Beckett. I don't know. Just cool.
Nice.
Get more.
those are
I got
cool.
so many of these things.
Those are
Is
neat.
it flipped? It's flipped for me.
that's because on
it looks
Discord
fine.
it flips your screen. You're good over here.
Just
Whoa,
a
tips
whole
and
bunch
tricks,
of these
bro.
things.
Oh, Sagas.
Sagas.
That game's
yeah.
gotten expensive too. That's like a $80, $90 game now.
Is it really?
Yeah, or close to. It went up there. It may have dropped since then.
This
Dragon
I'm not
Ball
gonna
Z.
open it up because this I didn't draw on it, but it's like got puzzles and all sorts of stuff, so you can see my like probably 7-year-old brain
Oh, I want to see. Come on, open it up.
doing writings.
Show
Come on.
it. Show it. I want to see your 7-year-old brain do
All right,
stuff.
I lied.
Oh my-
Sagas is not that much. I'm thinking of was it like Infinity something? Sagas is only like $15. Never mind. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's so stupid, but they have this right here where it's like a puzzle, and it says the name of the inventor of the androids can be found by following the directions, and it just says the first letter in the triangle. It's so stupid. Oh, you can't see it. The first letter of the triangle is D, and then you write D.
These nuts.
And then you go second letter in this circus. And I have it all written out. And when you get to the end, it's Dr. Giro.
That's so stupid.
It's so
I
dumb.
love it.
The 7-year-old
un-
brain thought that was probably amazing.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing
uns-
ever.
Unscramble this, and it just spells out Yamcha.
Oh, no one cares about Yamcha.
Oh.
Poor Yamcha.
Oh, no,
It's
no.
funny.
You know, they still make those. My kids are really into Dragon Ball Z. I would definitely still try to find some of those.
But just more. Here's a torn up Red Eyes Black Dragon. You can't even see that.
Mhm.
Ugh, got some water
It got
damage there.
it got wet.
Yeah.
That one's one of the best ones in terms of shape that's in there. Something
Worst
GT
term because
oriented.
GT. Ooh.
Ugh.
And
I
there's
like
so,
GT.
there's so
Don't
many
make
more
fun of
Dragon Ball.
GT.
GT's trash.
Go Tanks.
It's got moments.
But that's it. That's all I wanted to show.
Cool.
Again, these are some of my favorite things I have because I don't know. I'm a loser.
Those are cool. I like those.
Cool. I'll go next since
Alright.
I'm gonna go. Since you're showing off books, I got a couple of these. I thought this was really neat. I was digging around and I'm like, man, it's been a while since I saw any of my guides. I had a few guides lying around, and I ended up like Nintendo 64 totally unauthorized.
I love
and
those.
then
The unauthorized, unofficials. Yeah.
And then I have another one, and totally
never even
unauthorized
seen
Mario 64, and it just shows like this big old eyeballs.
I like. You know, it's funny. I almost grabbed my N64 guides just like that.
Yeah, I thought it was really neat.
I've never even seen those.
These are like shows like codes on how to do stuff and how to what game. Like
Mhm.
this one had a bunch of different games. This one has like Blast Corps. Remember that game? Man, that was like I think Blast Corps was like one of the those were like that was like a launch game I think from what
Yeah,
I
it was an
remember.
early one.
Yeah. So I used to play that, and this had like all kinds of codes and stuff, and it's like also cool. Like it even has like a little Nintendo 64 controller on top, and
Yeah.
it's like it's so lame though because there's not really much in it. It's just like, hey, do this and do that. And it's like, okay. And
It's
it
got a
shows
couple
like little,
screenshots there. There you go.
yeah, kind of has a couple of
Was that
things
Star
going on there.
Fox? Oh,
No, it was
No.
nope. It was oh, this is supposed to be Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Oh, okay.
So I showed the
Couldn't see
long the long hunter.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I remember the Chronoceptor. Oh yeah, I remember. And then this guy, the Mario
I
one,
just
the
love
Mario
that cover.
64.
Those big old eyes. It's great.
There's
like
just those like
Looks
little
like SpongeBob.
screenshots of different courses, how to get all 120 stars, and it's really thin considering. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like there wasn't much to it. It's like, ooh, look at that. You know, it's like it's neat.
Was that back when they had to do screenshots? It was literally just like they had to take like a regular camera, take a picture, and then scan it in because they couldn't do digital screenshots back then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of them are screenshots. Every single one of them.
That's funny.
It's just like someone had to take perfect screenshots too because
sometimes you can
they're
still
all
see
on
like
point.
the CRT lines if they do it with a camera.
Yeah, and they're super blurry.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, man, anything larger than that would have. Note: don't stop in front of the holes in the wall because they spray red flame.
That's a good tip for life right there too.
It is. It is.
Life
Life
is
is full
just
of
talking
flames.
about Puddle of Mud earlier.
Oh man.
Blurry.
Yeah. So that's what I got for you guys today.
All right, so I'm gonna round it off. So I think it was last week, yeah, because Blitz was with us. We were talking about like Game Sharks. You guys remember that?
Yeah, Game Shark.
Yeah.
So I have this. It is a sealed Shark
Ooh,
Pro.
bro,
Never
I used
been
to own that
opened. It's
thing.
blister pack.
Oh,
So this is
wow.
like the companion for the Game Shark. For this is the PS2. You could actually hook up your PlayStation to your PC and then like surf the net. Let's see if we can see these old school like 1998
Jesus.
websites and then like
God
download
damn.
the codes and whatnot. I think what I loved about this at the bottom, it has the system requirements for your PC. Anybody want to take a guess how much RAM they recommended?
512.
24 megabytes.
I was gonna say megabytes.
16 megabytes.
16.
Guess which operating system they were recommending at the time?
Windows 98.
98 or ME.
Yes.
30 megabyte hard drive, 2 meg video card. I don't know, just
Jeez.
a lot
A
of nostalgia
video
there.
card? You mean a 3D accelerator card?
That's right, yeah. So I don't know.
Man,
Thought that
I'm
was neat.
dating myself.
Better,
That's awesome.
better
I
be
used to rent
careful with
those
that.
all the time at Blockbuster. When I went to Blockbuster, I had to rent the Game Shark and the game.
Mm-hmm.
Say you
Oh,
better
we
be
lost
careful.
Metal.
with-
He's searching for something. Is that his N64 one?
Yeah, since we were talking about it last time.
Yeah,
It has a little stupid button on top.
that's right.
Where is it? Right there.
Yeah, I've got mine
It
somewhere
has
up
like
on the
little
shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had the cool little digital readout on it, tell you what code you were using. Yeah. Good
Yep.
times. I love cheat
Yeah.
codes. I miss good
Gotta
cheat
have,
codes.
have the FBI knocking
Yep.
down your doors here in a sec.
That's
Now you
right.
gotta pay for them.
That was legal. This was legal once.
Long
He used to have a
ago.
little hole in the back so it doesn't overheat
Yeah.
from cheating so much.
when you cheat so intense, you light things on fire.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
actually-
Moon jumps.
I'm telling my age here, but the first time I used the Game Shark was on Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Oh
That
my
was the first-
gosh.
Yeah, I didn't have
Surprised
one.
them,
I didn't have one for the 64. I had one
I-
for Vice City.
Vice City,
used
I
to-
didn't have to use it too much because you could open up your cell phone in the game and just type in all the codes. So I did it
Oh my
that way.
gosh.
On Vice City, there was
Yeah.
a cell phone on Vice City.
You had a phone, yeah. Oh no,
think-
yeah,
I
no,
think
you had
you
the
did.
big mobile phone. Remember they gave you like the giant one? Oh, well, there was some way you enter codes. I thought it was a cell phone, but there was
So
some
it
way
was
you could
the up,
enter in
down,
codes.
left. It was the way to do the code was like for like invincibility. It was like up, down, left, right, left trigger, right trigger. I have it
I could have
memorized.
swore you put it into a phone. Maybe I could be missing it. I don't remember. But either way,
Yeah. My first Game Shark was the one for the PS1. Oh, actually, I shouldn't say that because I had this before. But the PS1 one, when I really started using play or whatever, it was Final Fantasy VII. I did everything in my power trying to save Eris.
oh,
Yeah. And I tried to do it and it broke the game every single time.
there's
It's
some
like, 'cause
ways
I
to keep her
wanted to do it.
model in there now. I don't know if it was through Game Shark, but I know people have like modded it so you can keep her in the party. Or there's
Yeah.
something where like the way it's framed, there's open slots for her, like where she should be standing with the rest of the party, but there's a gap there, so people
My
assume that she
gosh.
wasn't supposed to actually die initially. I don't know.
Ooh, it's the
Final
Ghost.
Fantasy
Ghost of
series.
Eris.
Ooh.
I feel like that was like too high of technology for me back in the days. I was pretty
Oh my
young.
gosh.
You were still like
Probably
2.
not so much.
I mean,
Chaz and I were at the same age.
What, the Game
Oh,
Sharks?
man.
No, I
If
mean,
you-
Game Shark was what? I was probably like 6, 7.
The thing is,
You
like,
know?
Chaz is like 30 going on 22. You're like 30 going on 50, Blitz. I mean,
That's true. That is true.
So
All right.
one last thing, I did do something with this. I did try. I was one of those losers who find for green of time.
Hold on, say that
Like,
again?
I was-
It just cut out for me.
I just cut out.
Your audio
little bit.
clipped just a minute.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, I'm one of those losers who tried to find a Triforce in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
I stood trying to debunk all theories and tried to use this to try to get it.
Similar, not for that, but there was always that. It was in Smash Brothers, the first one. If you could beat the game a certain way, you could unlock Metal Mario.
Oh my god!
It was like you beat it on super hard with 1 life or something. I used the Game Shark so many times to try to get to the end. No Metal
It never
Mario.
happened. Yeah, those are
I
all
miss
like
those old debunked
rumors.
theories, Mythbuster nonsense.
No,
Oh,
there
yeah.
wasn't there the one? I don't know if it's true or not. I never did collect all the stars in Mario 64. But did you actually get Yoshi at the very end? Did you
Yes.
collect-
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you really did?
Yes.
Well,
do.
you don't get him. You get to Yoshi. He's like on the top of the palace.
He gives you 100 lives, and you can play the game forever, pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
It's
know.
like it's
Okay.
like a gift. It's like, hey, congratulations, thanks for saving the world. Here's our keep playing.
Yeah.
Thanks, and it just says the dev team from Nintendo.
That one was.
It's
Oh.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
That's cool. I think I got like 70 stars, and I was like, okay, I'm done.
It's fun once you get the 120. You're just like,
Now you-
yeah, I'm a buff.
I know you guys didn't see it, but Pedro Pascal's gonna be in a Mario movie here soon. Oh, I'm
I
kidding. I'm
wish.
kidding.
I
I'm
like.
kidding.
Yeah, that was a great sketch. Like, I'm not big on SNL anymore, but that was top notch. So if you guys has everybody seen that, the SNL Pedro Pascal Mario Kart movie?
No.
Oh
No.
yes.
Just go to YouTube after this and just look up Pedro Pascal Mario. It'll be the first thing that pops up. It's like Mario set in the Last of Us kind of universe, post-apocalyptic. It's fantastic. So I would watch that. I'd probably enjoy watching that more than the actual Last of Us show. But either way,
I did think it was funny when someone I don't remember which character, but someone on there said they were bisexual or something, and I was like,
it's like two
I
or
was-
three of them saying.
I was laughing, and I'm like, oh, whoever made this sketch knows more about The Last of Us than than Ben Shapiro does apparently.
Oh
I don't know
my
if you guys
God.
Oh.
know who that is. Never mind.
Ouch.
I won't go into
Alright.
detail about that.
Moving on. So that's our
Yeah.
highlights from the Horde. There's some cool stuff in there. But yeah, next time, let's see if we can come up with like a theme or a focus that we can kind of help kind of isolate what we're going to choose. But we can talk
I
about
mean,
that
we
off.
Kind
That
of
would
did it
be-
by accident. Our 3 of us had books. I mean,
That's true. And a couple of us, so I guess I kind of did the Game Shark thing.
Well,
Which
that
led
would
to,
be easier to do depending on the topic, like the main topics. Like I would have, because like if I would have thought about it, we could have made this like an undead,
Yeah, maybe we could do that. I
topic, like Last
try
of
to
Us
do
or
that.
something.
Like if I know the topics, I try to find something that relates to them, but that's kind of hard. Like today, I couldn't think of anything that really fit any one particular
Last of
game
Us
or
or-
I
topic.
drew a picture.
I could have drew a picture. Like I found my Last of Us Game Informer, but I'm like, ooh. So I don't know. All right, we'll talk about that off stream and go from there. But moving on, right? We got a lot of news to talk about this tonight.
Yes, so we are going to move on to our speedrun news topics. So Phoenix is going to do one thing to help me out. Only one thing this entire time. He's going to have the
Like
timer.
5 times already.
I help out every week and have been super glad to do it. But no, Chaz had to go.
That's because you're on salary. You have to.
Look at this man.
Tiny erase.
Not even
All
a
right.
Little Caesar's
Is he
pizza.
working for
Come on.
Yeah,
Nachos?
No pizza, no nothing.
All right, timer is up.
Speedrun news real quick is just it's where we take 5 minutes just to choose a topic and kind of just I don't know, talk about it, give you our opinions on what has been going on there. So
Just
yeah,
a thought before we get into it. A proposal for how we might change the format of this a little bit, because I know sometimes we have a topic and 5 minutes is more than enough time. Maybe we should pick like a allotment of time for all the topics, and it just counts down. That way, if we want to talk a little more about one topic, we could. A little less about one, we could go and move on. So, like for example, we have like what 5 topics tonight. So we could do like 25 minutes just on the timer and just go from there, but or 20 minutes.
You already have a lot on your plate, so I don't want to inundate you with.
We'll try it next time. I'm just pitching it out there. All right, we'll do individual fives.
I don't know if I said that word right.
Inundated.
Inundate.
Yeah.
Inundate. I said inundating.
Inundating.
But yeah. So before you started, let me just kind of talk about explain the first topic. So first topic, this is probably definitely the oldest of the topics that we have for the speed run. This is going to be us just talking about the Xbox Developers Direct that happened on the 25th of January. Again, a little older. We just never got around to talking about it. But yeah, essentially there were 5 announcements that came out of that event. In no particular order, I'll just say the biggest thing for me, at least, was the HI-FIRUSH announcement. That's the game, that we just got done talking about. But that was kind of a brand new drop from Tango GameWorks, and it dropped, day one of it being announced. So that was a big thing. Next big thing I would say would have been the Redfall. We actually got an extended gameplay showcase for Redfall, which is releasing on May 2nd, which is a big deal because I feel like a lot of people were kind of wanting to get a better idea of what the game is and what I still feel like you're missing out on quite a bit, but yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm giving an opinion here. So Redfall, we got that. We got Minecraft Legends PvP details, a release for April 18th. We got ESO, or Elder Scrolls Online. They announced Necrom, which is a new expansion that's going to be coming out. And then, we got Forza Motorsport. More details, more gameplay. But this is probably the one kind of disappointing thing to most people, is that they still didn't give a release date for that game. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of take it away. What did you guys like? What did you hate from this
I'm
event?
all about Forza. You know that.
The last time you got banned from Forza, didn't you, for doing something dumb?
No, I wasn't dumb. Actually, I beat the world
too
record.
Much money or something.
No, I beat a lap time that was #1 in the world. Okay, I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and they said I cheated, and I got banned from playing online. They said I could. They said it was impossible to get that lap time.
Seems sus. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know.
I
was ride rails and I got rear-ended. I don't know.
What's the guy that claimed
the guy talking about the Vice City cheats a few minutes ago? No, I'm just kidding.
What's the name of the guy? What's the name of the guy that claimed he was the Donkey Kong champion for like 50
Billy
years?
Mitchell.
We got a Billy Mitchell here.
Mm-hmm. That guy's got some stuff going on too. That's a whole nother topic. But
I was gonna say he's.
I believe you, Blitz. I believe that you earned the impossible, unachievable record that the developers themselves say you could have possibly obtained.
That's
I believe it. I believe it.
Maybe the time was. I don't know. I even challenged it. I even pulled out the letter that they sent me. They said that time was unachievable, and it was like a whole paragraph, and I'm like.
You're not even that tech savvy to be even doing that kind of stuff.
I'm on Xbox. You know what I mean?
So because of that, are you gonna boycott the next Forza? Or are you still looking forward to it?
No, I played Forza Horizon 3 and I paid for 4, and I'm gonna pay for 7. So
now I will say,
score too.
I will say I don't know anything about Forza games, but like you do know that I don't know. I'm sure you do since you're a fan, but like apparently the Motorsport series is vastly different than the Horizon series.
One's sim, one's arcade.
Yeah,
I play both of them, and I actually prefer the sim racing over the arcade ones, especially if you compare it to Gran Turismo. I think Forza is a little bit more refined. The engine sounds are more unique and to the individual vehicle, and it just the tire sounds. It's just I don't know. Microsoft just nailed it on their realistic sort of vehicles.
Okay. So Forza was a big drop for you. That's cool.
Do you get to get an ice cream truck and shoot fireballs all over the place?
No, that's a good game.
So how do you guys feel about Redfall? Like, have you guys been pseudo interested in that at all? Or are you guys just kind of like, whatever?
I'm very much interested. I don't say very much interested. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it'll be fun.
I'm skeptical, cautiously optimistic is the word.
I'm just skeptical. No, I mean, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's just, I don't know. Something about it just doesn't, it feels off to me. I don't know.
My worry is that like a lot of people love Arcane, Bethesda Arcane Studios, but I'll be honest, I haven't been in love with any of their games. I thought Dishonored 1 and 2 were fine. I thought Prey was a little less than fine. I'm sorry
I
if
liked
anyone
Prey.
loves Arcane. I didn't get to play, what was it? The Time one for came out on PlayStation. What is it? Was that them? Was that Arcane?
I'm
What's
not
the
sure we're
Time
thinking of
one?
the same game.
What's the timed exclusive? That
Oh,
is supposed to
Deathloop,
Deathloop, yeah.
which is also on Xbox now. It's on Game Pass.
Is it already?
Hmm?
Oh shoot!
They
I
had
didn't
a year
realize it was out
exclusive.
yet.
I actually liked that game, but
I just, I'm curious, but I haven't like loved one of their games yet. I think Dishonored 1 was probably the best one so far to me.
I think I just don't have a good feel what they're trying to do here yet. Like, it's got kind of Left 4 Dead-y vibes, and it's got kind of the standard arcade sim kind of stuff like their Prey series. There's a little bit of that in there, a little bit of class-based stuff. I don't know. I don't really get where it's all going to mesh just yet. This could be a game I'm going to have to play, I think, to kind of get my finger on exactly what they're doing. So I don't know if I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm just kind of cautious on it right now. So I also don't love. I'm sure you guys saw this. Everything is all online, right? Even if you want to play the game single player, all online.
Yeah, I saw that.
So not that that's a new
DRM.
thing, but
That I didn't know. I didn't know that.
yeah.
Actually.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a new trend in games. I mean, they're all kind of going that route, but still a little disappointing.
I think my
Got
one
10
problem
seconds
with
left.
it is I don't necessarily think the gunplay looks any like it's not the game gunplay just doesn't seem unique to me. I haven't seen much from the abilities that makes me freak out. It just looks like you said. You say the word bland a little bit. It's a little bland. I don't know. Not
Yeah.
I don't know if bland's harsh. But...
I don't know if bland's even the word that is coming to mind. It just something just feels a little off just yet. I don't see how it's all meshing together. But either way, that's our time. Any last minute comments though on the Xbox Direct?
It just it gives me the vibe of like, not. It's probably going to be better than this game, but it gives me a very Back 4 Blood vibe. Where like I remember seeing everything about that, where I was just like, I wasn't blown away by any particular aspect. I was just like, oh, I'll play it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I get that, and that's maybe kind of where I'm at. Like, I was probably more hyped about Back 4 Blood, and then I played it, and I was more disappointed. So maybe I'm now I flipped my expectations a little bit, so I'm a little less excited about this game with those expectations kind of in mind. But either way. All right, moving on. Topic 2.
Oh, shoot. I'll switch back over. Topic number 2. Bye-bye. Fill time. So we're going to talk about Halo. I don't know if you guys have seen the problems with Halo Infinite. Apparently 343 had announced that they are basically going to be restarting from scratch when it comes to this current game. Basically, this news follows the recent mass layoffs that happened, across Microsoft, and particularly I should probably. Oh, we didn't even talk about. Oh, we only talked about 2 games from that entire 5-game thing. That's interesting.
Too bad. That's why we got to change our format to these. But anyways.
Yeah. So yeah. Basically, there were a little under 100 people that got laid off during that entire mass layoff, and I don't know if you guys remember, but they reported heavily that like a large amount of those people were campaign and story based people that were working on that. So I guess ultimately it comes to no surprise to kind of learn that there are now currently no plans for more story based content, and basically supposedly there was a battle royale that was actually being worked on in the backgrounds. Now that game is kind of being pushed off, or they're not quite sure what direction that's going to go in. Also, there is a switching from the Slipspace engine, where they're going to be moving over to Unreal Engine, which, that's interesting. And then, let's see, new 343 studio boss Pierre Heinz, he kind of was quoted as saying this was an email, the current plan for the Halo studio is to support a robust live offering for Halo Infinite and its Forge mode, while also greenlighting our new tech stack for Halo, for future Halo projects. So, a bunch of gobbledygook, basically just saying that they're reworking things. So what do you guys think?
Go ahead, Phoenix. Talk about it.
Is Halo dead?
Well, do you guys have anything you want to say first?
I'm gonna say
I got nothing to say except for
I'm gonna say I'm not too disappointed. I don't like battle royales. I love Halo. I know, but I don't get the point of battle royals. They're so overdone. So I'm like, whatever. That's my opinion.
I guess my thing, like, there was a time I would have cared about the story DLC, but this game's going on, what is it, a year and a half old now or something like that? So it's not, it's a little late to even do that kind of stuff, I think, at this point. I mean, it's already lost a huge amount of its player base. I think, especially those who care about campaign. I mean, I'm sure it brought back some people with Forge, but I don't know. And most Halo games in the past haven't had big campaign expansions. I mean, this game may have been better suited for it because of its kind of pseudo open world, but I don't know. I'm not super disappointed about that. Um, I'm really just curious about the whole switch to Unreal, and I'm sure Metal, you have some thoughts about this. Not that I think it's inherently bad. Like, I get why they're doing it. Unreal's good engine, lots of documentation, a lot of support. So a lot of, problems that they have to figure out how to solve in their own engine are probably solved in Unreal. So that's probably the shift to speed up development. I think my biggest fear, though, is if they did anything right in Infinite, it was that Halo felt like Halo, which that is a testament to the engine.
You brought up my exact thing, was that the biggest thing Halo Infinite did was the gameplay was great.
Yeah.
That moment to moment gameplay felt like Halo. Sorry.
No, and that's just it. Not saying you can't replicate that in Unreal, but that's a big undertaking when you want to try to fit a certain game into the bones, a skeleton of a different engine. That's a lot of work, and sometimes it never quite feels right. I mean, that goes back to the long age story of Silicon Knights trying to do the Too Human issue and not liking Unreal because they couldn't get their game to work in it. Not saying that this is going to be the exact same thing, but it's a big undertaking. So I don't know what the next Halo is going to, one, look like, and I'm not sure what it's going to feel like now. I can't even go with confidence saying Halo Infinite 2, whatever they call it, is going to play as good as this one. Like, it's going to be brand new, blank slate, fresh kind of thing. So that makes me nervous.
The only positive right now is that, the only bright side is that, you have Halo Season 2 coming around on Paramount Plus.
I don't know if I can go through that torture again, Chaz. That was a rough show. Did you guys watch the Halo show on Paramount?
After you mentioned it, I was like, nope.
Yeah.
How did we? That's forever going to be a question mark for me. Is how did we talk about each episode one by one?
Well, there was a lot to say. I mean, as my soul slowly slipped from my body each week watching it. But anyway,
you got to see the Master Cheeks at least.
Anyway, so I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about it. I'm not super disappointed. I enjoyed my time with Infinite. They just really, for whatever reason, the ball got dropped. I don't know if it was all 343's fault, if it was Microsoft's fault, which that's what now it sounds like people are saying it's a big Microsoft publishing issue that caused a lot of their initial issues, but I don't know. I enjoy Infinite for what it was. I have no idea what the next iteration of Halo is going to be like, though.
Well, it almost seems like, not to throw praise on this other item, but like it almost seems like Halo needs the DCEU treatment, where it's like you start from ground zero. Maybe you need to bring in your own Flash to restart your entire.
See, I don't know if that's good though, because here's the thing, like, what made Halo so good was how it evolved over time. Like, Bungie nailed what Halo was early on. By the time we got to Halo 2, Halo was Halo, right? And then that's what it was like in Halo 3 and Reach. They made tweaks, but it always still felt like Halo. Then 343 took over, and it took a long time for it to feel like Halo again. Like, Infinite, arguably, you could say, is the first time it's really felt like Halo since they took over. So now we're starting over again? Like, me can change a lot about Halo, and I'm okay with them taking the story in whatever direction they want, whatever, but it's gotta feel like Halo. Like, and I'm really worried now that they're jumping to a whole new engine. The team's changed a lot. I don't think the next Halo is gonna really feel as good. I don't know. That's gonna be disappointing, I think.
Another disappointing thing is, like, most of the time whenever a company or whatever, most of the time it can be led down the wrong path due to bad leadership, and it's like
20 seconds.
I mean 343 has had Bonnie Ross and Joe Staten at the helm for this game. It's like, so you have like long-term people that have been associated since the early days with this brand. It's like, so it's, I would assume most of the blame has to go to them because they were the leadership, but I don't know.
That's done. It's hard to say.
I just mean you have people directing the ship now. who have experience, so it's very, very questionable, everything going on there.
All right. Moving on.
Okay, dokie.
I think we're on the roadmap now, right?
Um.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The E3 stuff.
E3.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about, roadmap? Okay.
I'm sorry, I skipped ahead.
All right. Yep. So we are moving on to basically, I don't know if you guys also heard, but essentially, Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony will not be a part of E3.
That's ouch.
Yeah, so basically in June they will not be a part. Neither of the three draws will be at the event. It just says according to one source, there's been ongoing frustrations with the ESA over the last 3 years, who claim that someone claims it's been incredibly mishandled. They mishandled the brand. See IGN sources saying several major E3 organizers have departed the ESA, leaving a new group to sweep up after them. So basically, it's just a bunch of criticizing of Reed Pop, which is the company that's handling the event. It just there's a main quote saying there's a good sense that there's that there is not an understanding of what the show is going to be or how it's going to come together, which is strange coming from a company that does such an amazing job with PAX twice a year. So sorry, go ahead.
But what I had to say about that is a lot of it had to do with, I think, COVID. When COVID came out, a lot of these, when E3 got not canceled, but everyone went to the streaming services. They did so well on their own. Why would they need to go back to E3?
That's part of it. But remember too, like even before COVID, like which one of the big threes was still actually at E3, like presented? Like Nintendo had already moved to.
Microsoft
had a separate
same
event
time,
still.
But a separate. It was same time, but separate event.
So they were.
I think Sony was the only one there.
I thought Sony stepped away too.
Did they step away?
No.
They were the first.
Sony stepped out. Nintendo went to Directs, and then Microsoft was the only one that was kind of there, quote unquote. And now they're basically saying they're taking that away as well. So I'm pretty sure either at the time COVID hit or the year prior, the big three had already pretty much stepped back, and then COVID was just kind of that final nail in the coffin that kind of pushed them all to really have their own focused digital presence. So I don't know. I don't know if this is really like a new revelation by any means. Like, I don't know. I'll let you guys talk, because I don't know.
It's a poop storm. I don't know what else to add.
I think it's funny. It's a long time coming, man.
The question is just what. Or good. But what does E3 become? Is it just a third party oriented showcase, like where they just show like Devolver Digital stuff? But Devolver Digital even has their own event, so it's like.
I know for a while, even when the big three didn't have their shows, they still had like a floor presence. Like Nintendo would still have some booths, and Microsoft would. I'm curious. Are they saying they're just pulling out even on the floor presence? None of the big three are going to be there at all? Because what does that leave you with?
Yeah, and people really want to see what Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo want. Or Square, they have Square and Ubisoft, which Ubisoft is another cluster mess that's happening right now. Like, I mean, what else is there? Usually it's Ubisoft who does like the 3-hour thing that they do or whatever. So
EA.
I think this paves the way for Summer Games Fest to be the big game event or
which
big
I don't
game.
think that's that good. I don't know.
No,
like, it does not have the same feel that old E3 used to have. E3, at least when it was good, there was an excitement about it. I don't get that with Summer Game Fest. Everything Jeff Keighley does feels too just markety, too advertisement heavy. It's all about
talking about the Dorito Mountain Dew guy.
For me, man.
Huh?
The Dorito man.
What do you say, Blitz?
I was saying E3 was like the Super Bowl for nerds.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's why I'm sad about this. It was this moment that, I mean, it didn't even really matter necessarily. I mean, the games matter. That's not what I'm saying. But it was just this moment that all of gaming as a community got to come together and celebrate gaming and look at cool stuff that was upcoming. I mean, not that can't still be a thing, but with it being so kind of, segregated now, and you have this publisher doing this, that publisher doing that, I don't know. It definitely neuters the whole, prospect a little bit. So I don't think this bodes well for E3 at all. So I'm sad.
Yeah. We used to watch it like every year. Like we made it a freaking religion.
We watched it together, I think, one year.
We'd get together.
We watched it every year for like 4 or 5 years. Like it was like a
it
huge
was like
major
the
thing.
Super Bowl. Yeah, you'd bring your friends over, have like parties and snacks, and it would go on for days because it was a whole week long event. Like I do miss that.
I miss like I would have multiple TVs with like I'd have one on Spike TV, I'd have one on G4 because both companies would be running different coverages with different analysts and like it's sad.
Poor Spike TV.
Poor G4.
Poor G4.
G4 had it coming lately.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, that's sad. It does make me sad, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there's just no good replacement for it. I think is what really makes it sad. Like the fact that Summer Game Fest is the replacement. Like that doesn't make me feel any better about it. Like I mean, Nintendo's still going to have their announcements.
The Game Awards, those are like now the prime.
Those don't do it for me. I mean, maybe other people really enjoy those, but I don't like them as an alternative.
We can blame Nintendo because they were the first to pull out.
Giggity.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe I don't know, and we'll still. I mean, they'll still have their separate publisher direct like things around the time. So it's not like we don't get the announcements. We just miss the hype. We miss the excitement. So something is lost with this.
For some reason, the whole AMC thing popped into my head. Do you guys hear about that?
That was time, by the way.
AMC theaters now they're charging based on seating. So if you want like the best seating, it's more expensive than the front row.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's only a matter of time.
So now depending on where you want to sit, your price
that's
is
not
going to
save them. It's going to make it worse.
I don't know. I was just thinking about another struggling company.
Yeah. Well, it's times have changed, right? So I mean, to be fair, the way we consume and the way we engage with media is so different now that maybe the old, fashion of going to the movies or going to a conference or doing this just aren't really applicable anymore. It's sad,
maybe
but
maybe we're getting older.
We're old. That's what
it is.
Back in my day. All right. Next topic.
Okay, so we're moving on to something that I really care about because
let's skip it. Let's keep.
Ooh.
You can't skip it now, huh?
I can't. I can at least get rid of all the notes inside of the Google Doc.
I worked very hard on all that. But so I don't know. Something I really enjoyed was it was a short little video, a little 6-minute video. But if you don't know, James Gunn, formerly of Guardians of the Galaxy, well, not say formerly, he's making the new one too. But he's been given the kind of the what would you say? He's the head guy, CEO or whatever of DC.
Yeah, he's like the animated story runner or whatever you want to call it. He's the head honcho for the direction of the DCU.
Yeah, so basically he put out a 6-minute video just kind of putting out an entire roadmap for what he's going to be doing for the next 8 to 10 years with DC. It's him and what's the other guy? Oh, Peter Safran. This is the other guy. So basically what it is that between him and Safran, he has a group of 5 other writers, and they're called like the Authority or the something. He has like some Marvel. Bad place to say Marvel. He has some comic book oriented name behind them. But they're going to be the main writers. So he announced that it's going to be moving over from the DCEU to now it's just going to be called the U. It's a lot of work to drop that E. And so what he said is he's going to start labeling everything between DCU and DC Elseworlds. So basically things that don't fit into his roadmap are going to be called Elseworlds. Everything's going to have tags apparently. So it's going to be separate, making his works the own thing. He also announced that all of the film, shows, gaming, and animation within the DCU will connect. So apparently everything that comes out that is part of his master plan is going to connect. I think he even announced that like the voice actors between animation and film will be the same, which is interesting because that's like 2 different forms of acting now you got to find people to kind of fit into.
That is interesting.
So Gunn also announced that The Flash will officially be the film that will pave the way for his new universe. Essentially, kind of, it's going to be multiversing of some sort. So that's going to be that. Let's see, we got the writers, 8 to 10 years with chapter 1 is apparently going to be good dubbed. The next 8 to 10 years is dubbed Gods and Monsters. So I don't know. Do you guys just want me to start saying the announcements exactly what they were? 'Cause there was 10.
Oh, there's a bunch of them. Why don't you kind of just pick through what you think is the most interesting kind of tidbits out of there? I'm gonna start the timer.
Gosh, it's so interesting because I would say that the stuff that I was more interested in was stuff that wasn't necessarily the big characters, but it was more the stories between certain characters that I think is most interesting. Like one that I kind of gravitated to was this Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow film. This is now I have it labeled which is that animation film or live action. So this live action film, Woman of Tomorrow, is super interesting because it's like it kind of follows the what happens with Supergirl after the demise of their planet. What was it, Krypton? And like apparently it's like this is like his super dark kind of direction for it. What are you laughing at? Because I forgot Krypton.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, the way I said it.
Well, just the fact that was even a question. I don't know. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
See, this is why you're not in charge anymore.
Yep.
But basically, I kind of just
love you, buddy.
The stuff I thought was interesting is what really drew me in, like the lanterns. That I thought was really cool because I don't know if you know, but they were saying that Lanterns is supposed to be like a odd True Detective live action TV show where it's going to be Hal Jordan and oh man, what's the other Lantern? It's Hal Jordan and is it Stewart something?
Yeah, I don't remember his full name, but that sounds right.
But basically,
and they're bringing Ryan Reynolds back, right?
Yes, Ryan Reynolds has officially signed on the dotted line to come back.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
I was about to say, I didn't hear that.
Didn't Ryan Reynolds like retire? Like,
no, he's still.
I thought he said he was retiring from acting.
Maybe after Deadpool 3, I don't know.
But anyways, and runner of Mint, Mint Mobile.
Yeah. But anyways, there's other things. Superman Legacy, and officially, they said Superman Legacy is going to kind of be the beginning of the film part of the DCU, and Gunn said he's already writing it, and they already put even a date. It's releasing in 2025. He even said a specific day, which is kind of interesting. There's all sorts of stuff. There's a different take on Batman, which they said. So apparently, the Batman with Robert Pattinson, apparently that's not a part
separate,
of his.
Yeah.
That's Elseworld.
Which
the new Batman movie. Yeah, I agree. The new Batman movie apparently is The Brave and the Bold, which I had never even heard of. It was like
that was a TV show.
It's a different Robin, apparently. A Robin I'd never heard of.
That was Damian Wayne, right?
Yeah.
What I find interesting, I haven't looked at all the summaries for what they're pitching, but I kind of like that he's not restarting from scratch as far as like, well, we got to go back to the ground one. Who is Batman? Who is Superman? Like, he's kind of just assuming, all right, these characters. Let's kind of dig into some of their later, more interesting storylines. Like the whole Damian Wayne thing, that's like, what, the fourth Robin? Where it's actually, Bruce Wayne's son. He was raised with Talia al Ghul or all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of neat to see that we're getting a chance to see that, because if we would have stuck with the old roadmap, we wouldn't have seen a story like that for like 20 years, right? Because they'd have to build up to it. So they're kind of jumping in head first and make some later storylines. We'll get to see some things on the big screen that we probably wouldn't have seen, which I think is kind of neat. Now, I think it's going to maybe make it a little less accessible to people who don't know a lot about the extended Batman, mythos and whatnot, but we'll see how they handle it.
I'm kind of happy at least that there's like, as opposed to the Zack Snyder stuff, I felt like there was no like communication and dialogue between Snyder or whoever was in,
the directors
in charge. There was the directors. There was no communication as to what the roadmap was, where everything was leading to. Everything was just kind of assumed, and like clearly James Gunn has been like, he took time to like write everything down. Like he went in fully to DC and was like, look, this is what I want to do if you're going to hire me. You know what I mean? It is kind of nice. Like he's their Kevin Feige kind of.
Hey, well, it's hard to say. I feel like they had some of that with the Zack Snyder universe. Like the Zack Snyder universe just barely got going. Like you had like, what was it? Batman versus Superman, the Justice League, then Wonder Woman, and I think that's all you had up until Justice League released. It was like 3 movies. So it wasn't that they weren't trying to connect it all. It had a really hard time getting off the ground.
Suicide Squad. That was totally
the second one was James Gunn. The first one was I want to say Webb. Is that right? Am I wrong on that?
I have no idea.
Oh, I could be wrong on that. I can't recall. Different directors though for each Suicide Squad, but the second Suicide Squad I think was kind of what got James Gunn into this whole DC process. 10 seconds, by the way. So, last minute thoughts.
I have anything specific. I'm actually kind of excited. I think this is the best time, I guess, for DC to get their kind of ducks in a row because of what's going on with Marvel. Like, not that Marvel's floundering or anything, but I feel like this is the least interested I've been in the Marvel universe or Marvel Cinematic Universe up to this point. So it's a good time for DC to kind of figure things out, even if everything is still way off.
Marvel's
maybe
been using the same formula for years, so
yeah. If James Gunn comes across feeling fresh, I'll tell you, I think my biggest fear, just last thing, is that superhero movies in general are so saturated now. People are just kind of tired of them, I think, to a certain extent. Not saying a good superhero movie won't bring people back, but I wonder if it's maybe a little too late to be starting this huge, giant, universe-stretching franchise. Are people going to be up for that after going through the entire, Marvel saga and seeing the DC flounder back and forth? I mean, a good movie will pull people back, but I think there's going to be a lot of skepticism and a lot of fatigue going into it.
Like you're saying, a good movie will pull people back, and I don't know if I've gone back to watch any of the DC movies since I watched them in theaters their first time, and a movie that me and you have talked about before, but like just 2 or 3 days ago, I was bored and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna watch Watchmen, and it's like, if you make a good superhero movie, it'll stick with somebody like me, and I will always, whenever I'm in downtime or bored, I'll be like, I'm gonna watch that. You know what I mean? I don't think DC really pulled the only movie of theirs that I watched maybe multiple times is probably Man of Steel. That's just because that's kind of a guilty pleasure, but I see the problems with it.
Fair enough.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
All right. Do we have one more topic, or is that we're talking about the game
all
cancellations?
Oh yeah, we can. I have a
up
list
to you. We're at
here.
an hour and 16. If you want to add one more topic, we can. Or if you want to go and move on, we still have Last of Us to talk about. We still have the High Score Olympics update.
Yeah, you can just I don't know. We also have we have the Final Fantasy VII. I don't know if you care about that. We have the cancellations, and we have Dragon Age 4.
I'm good skipping everything unless you guys want to dig into any of those.
I guess real quick, I kind of want to touch on Dragon Age 4 for a second.
I knew you were going to touch.
All right, I'm gonna set the timer to like 1 minute.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I just want to say, as someone who I don't want to say I'm a diehard Dragon Age fan. I love Dragon Age Origins. I love that style of gameplay. It's BioWare. This is BioWare in their like peak powers, in my opinion.
Only for 1 and 2.
Only for 1 and 2, yeah. But it's like it's so disappointing. I don't know if you saw, but apparently the leaks essentially have kind of shown people that like they are heavily moving away from the RPG aspects, and they are trying to go into a more action-oriented combat type style, which from the leaks people were saying it looks more like a hack and slash, like God of War or something. And it's like man, EA knows how to turn off a fan, man, because I'm like, that is not what I want from Dragon Age. Like, I miss Dragon Age Origins. It was very Mass Effect-y, where like it was action oriented, but you could stop, decide what enemy or what of your characters you want to attack, when to attack, and you could use potions. Like, I wanted that like tactical RPG type, and this is, I don't know. Is that something? No, am I the only one that cares about it?
Well, it was a lot like Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, that BioWare as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do like, that style of gameplay, but nobody has been able to nail it since then.
Yeah, it's just sad. Like, I feel like I have no interest in Dragon Age 4, and it's like back when I was playing 1 and 2. If you would have told me I wouldn't have cared about a Dragon Age game, I'd been like, "What? I love Dragon Age." I don't know. It's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll be surprised. I don't know.
No, I'm not. Well, we'll see. I don't know. Okay, so you wanted just to touch on real quick on some of the, I don't know if you guys saw, but we have a High Score Olympics. It's a little, check out the video. We, kind of put some bets on the line as to some games we think are going to score critically throughout the year. And Phoenix had his launched. What was this Fire Emblem Engage that came out like 2 weeks ago?
It was like January, I want to say like 20th or something. So yeah, I was actually, I mean, it didn't end up faring poorly. It's an 80. If you check the Metacritic score right now, it dropped a few points. They initially was like a 82 or 83, and then eventually it just kind of settled back down to an 80. So a little lower than I would have hoped, but I mean, it's not a terrible score. I'm not a huge Fire Emblem guy in general. I kind of just chose that one based upon the success of like Three Houses and the stuff that came before. It seemed like there was a resurgence in that fan base. I guess people were saying, though, the combat and gameplay was better in this game, but the story was quite a bit worse.
I was just going to say, from what I saw of reviews, apparently the story is not great. Or compared to previous games, it's not great. That's what I had heard.
Yeah, which, I mean, that can be subjective, but once again, I'm not the biggest Fire Emblem fan, so I'm not the person to say one way or the other. So
I heard, I was listening to a hardcore fan on a podcast from IGN, and they were like, they sounded super disappointed with it. So,
yeah. That's fair. I mean, I still have a chance. 80's not terrible, but, you know, I need some high scores coming up. Luckily, you guys let me keep Zelda, so that will save me, hopefully, towards the end.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's not my type of game. I know it's more, tactical stuff, these type of games.
And then you also had one of your games actually pop out.
It's coming out in, 3 days, I think, officially?
Yeah, Friday, I think?
Yeah.
10th?
Hogwarts.
Yeah,
they've been promoting the heck out of that thing, man. You can see that everywhere.
Lots of advertising.
Every other commercial is something about Hogwarts.
So then the question I have when it comes to my game is, there's 2 scores. There's a PlayStation and an Xbox one. Which one am I going off of? Or do we want to just average those 2 out?
Oh, I didn't think about that. I just grabbed the PlayStation one. I have you at 86.
Metacritic is 86 on PlayStation, 89 on Series X.
Interesting.
Oh, so you went way higher than I expected. I think everybody's gonna have really high expectations.
So should we do the average between those two, or just
maybe? Yeah,
75.
Yeah, 75 is what I'm thinking is gonna be.
End up in the realm of like Velma.
1.7.
So
the average would be what? 87 and a half or 88 somewhere.
If it's at 89, you're like at 87.5. Well, we can see where it lands. Here's the thing: this still might change a little bit over the course of the next week.
Throughout the year, yeah.
Yeah, well, like these scores, Metacritic, you know, is a little flexible. Like first couple of weeks, it's gonna go up and down as new reviews come out and whatnot. So we'll kind of re-update these scores when we get towards kind of the final listing. Right now, I'll just say you're at 86, 87, which is still pretty good. I was gonna say
we need to put in a lock for when. Is it just when the last game comes out, or do we want a specific time in December? To lock in our
we need to figure out when the last game releases, assuming all these games actually release this year, and then we need to give it a little bit of time to also settle. So, amount like a 2-week buffer. We'll talk about that. I don't even know when all these games are scheduled to come out just yet, so we'll see. We'll determine that. But anyways,
so I've got an early lead. I don't have to play Elden Ring as of today.
Yet, yeah. Just out of curiosity, so who is interested in the Hogwarts Legacy? I have not been, so.
Yeah. I think it looks cool.
I'm into it. My wife is into it. I'm gonna buy it twice.
I'll tell you.
You see it one
I'm not gonna buy it twice. I'll tell you that. But...
It's not like you can't play together, right?
No.
No.
But if I buy it, my wife's gonna want to play it. So,
I think what makes it hard for me to get into, at least conceptually. I mean, I like the Harry Potter universe, but whenever I think about Harry Potter Wizarding World, it always is geared around Harry Potter, right? The movies, that story, those characters, like even like if I go to like Wizarding World in Orlando or whatnot, the rides all still are oriented around Harry and his old adventures and whatnot. So the fact that that is all removed from this game, this is just a brand new set of characters, brand new story, that makes me a little less interested already. Not saying there's not, a big world to dig into there, but this reminds me like the not Wizarding World, was it the Fantastic Beast movies ever come out, where they've been okay, they're within the Harry Potter world, but they kind of fall flat.
That's why I think it's going to get a 75 on that Metacritic.
Well, the Metacritic score is already out for most reviews. It's at 86.
Is it at 86?
It's at 86.
No, it's at an 89.
Depending if you look at Xbox or PlayStation. It's averaging right now 87 something. I think it'll drop a little bit, but it started high. I think at worst it'll probably end up like at 85. Now the user scores are going to be terrible.
That's what I'm going off of, the user scores.
We can't go off user scores because they'll bomb them. We got to go off critics.
This is my favorite.
They're fun to read, but
yes, they are.
This game has way too much controversy around it with Rowling and all that, so there's no fair way to look at.
Why did you give this game 1 out of 10? Too much water.
Do what? For me?
That's an old IGN joke. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
To you, 2 people out there that got that, good on you.
Oh, there's not 2 people watching.
Too much water. I thought you said 1 out of. I thought you said 1 out of 10.
I did 1 out of 10.
Too much water. Oh, got it. Oh, yeah. That was years ago.
What even game that review for? I don't even remember. Probably a GTA.
No, it was for Breath of the Wild, wasn't it?
Too much water?
Was it?
I don't remember. So, well, let me know. I'm curious what you guys feel after you play it, because I'm not completely like turned off the game. I like the Harry Potter world well enough. I just need to know that it's gonna be worth my time. So if you guys like it, let me know.
I definitely agree with you. I think they not pigeonhole. They put themselves into a corner a little bit with it's very much that like the Star Wars effect where it's like you can never get away from Skywalker. Like
see, I don't disagree with that. I think Star Wars has gotten away successfully from Jedis and Skywalkers a lot. There's enough extended stuff there and stories that have sold it well that is worth it. I think so.
Oh yeah.
Even just recently, that Andor show, excellent. Nothing to do with Skywalker. And there have been other iterations. The games have come out, nothing to do with Skywalker. Like there's been other takes on Star Wars that, like, go back to the Old Republic. Yeah. So Star Wars has been successful there, and I'm not saying there isn't enough, breadth of cool stuff in the Harry Potter world or Wizarding world, or whatever they're calling it. I just haven't seen it yet. So
it's 2 entirely different fan bases. Like the Star Wars fan base, I think, is very lenient when it comes to Star Wars lore, as opposed to Harry Potter. You ever been with a real Harry Potter fan? They're like a whole nother level.
I'm a Harry Potter
walking
fan.
Around with their robes.
Yeah.
I don't have a robe.
I don't have a lightsaber, and I'm, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, congratulations on your early lead, Chaz. I hope you don't keep it, but we'll see.
We'll see. I gotta wait for Spider-Man to come out. We'll see.
Spider-Man's probably gonna do good. Like I'm looking at your list right now. I think the only game that really you have that could be iffy is Starfield, and there's a good chance that could be really good, or it could be pretty. I don't think it's gonna be bad. I think it could be middle.
I thought Starfield and Hogwarts were my 2.
Yeah, and Hogwarts is looking good. Like Hollow Knight, that's gonna be good. Hades, Spider-Man. Probably.
Oh, Hades might not come out either, but we'll see.
All
right. So finally, we get to move on to our Last of Us talk. So we're gonna. So we only covered episodes 1 and 2. So the last time we were on. So now we get to talk about episodes. Has everyone seen 3 and 4? Or are we behind?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, take it away. What did you guys think of episode?
I'm not talking about 3.
Well, I think someone said they want to hear what I have to say about. Did someone say that? Or
no one wants to hear
about 3?
No, I do.
No?
I want to hear what you say about 3, because I'm not going to talk about 3.
I really enjoyed 3. I think it was a really well done piece of television. I thought the acting was really good. I thought it wasn't perfect. I've seen some people, again, when it comes to the internet and stuff, you're going to see people saying, "Oh, it's the greatest episode of television," and it's like there's other people that are like, "It is the worst piece of crap I've ever seen," and it's like,
well, you're bringing in agendas and preferences and politics into it. Like it's a episode that is treading a lot of different waters, so people are gonna have very strong opinions one way or the other.
Honestly, why I can't talk about it, because I'll get too political or whatever. So I'm gonna ignore it.
When you look at acting and pure acting, I think it was incredible in terms of the acting.
I'll give you, I'll agree.
The acting was great.
The quality was excellent. I mean, Nick Offerman's great. There was nothing wrong about the production of the show.
Everyone was great. Yeah.
I would say the acting was very well done.
I would say it wasn't perfect. I mean, there were a couple things that I thought in there that were kind of dumb about exactly how they survived so long by themselves. But it's like, I can if the quality of something is good enough, I am willing to an extent, what's the term? I'm willing to. Believability. I'm willing to push a little bit off if the quality of something is great.
Well, they kind of led into made necessary for episode 4 to happen.
Well, they could have done that differently. Like
they definitely could have done it differently. That's what my issue was.
Here's I'm sorry. I'll let you go, Chaz. I'll come after you.
I was just gonna say, when it comes to the agenda aspect, I think my big problem is people that are attacking it from the direction of like clearly have no idea about the game series and clearly have no idea what's contained and what aspects of certain characters are. And
Yeah.
I even told my relatives, like my brother and stuff, about the show. I'm like, listen, if this aspect of this episode bothers you, you're not going to want to, stay away from the rest of the show because you know what I mean. Not that any of my family's bothered by it, but I just meant like in general. I'm like, for people that are bothered by it, it's like, dude, that's like the whole show. Yeah, it's a zombie show or whatever, but it's more about the characters. It's more about
And it's not like
their
they
problems.
It's not like they made this episode like
No.
fundamentally different than the game. Like that was a relationship in the game. So I mean, it's not they're
No,
trying to.
they definitely delve way deeper than I
Yeah.
think the game did, but.
But they've been doing that for everything. Every
television.
episode has
Yeah.
tried to elaborate on the characters and give it backstory, which I have liked for the most part. Like characters that either didn't exist or didn't have any kind of story. Like even Tess, they added a lot more to her, which I liked. My issue with this episode is just how different it was from the game. Like it's really completely opposite with the direction. Like this one was very
everything
happy.
from episode 2 on or after 2 is like this is where I don't know what happens within the game.
So the show went very happy ending for the most part for Bill and Frank. The game is not happy ending for them.
For them.
In case you're not, well, I guess if you're not haven't played the game, you wouldn't know. Right before Joel and Ellie get to Bill's place, Bill's alive when they get there. Frank, like they had been in a relationship for so long, but Bill never fully like reciprocated. They had a hard relationship, and Frank shot himself with a shotgun because Bill wouldn't love him. Okay, or at least not the way he wanted to be loved. So it was a very rocky, rough relationship, is how it was demonstrated in the game. So when Joel gets to Bill, Bill's just like broken. And then Bill, of course, they have to earn his trust, and he opens up to him and then lets them get the truck and drive off. So it ends the exact same way. And then you never hear from Bill again in the rest of the game that I know of. I liked that better. Maybe it's just because the game, or not the game, but the whole premise of the show is this bleak kind of atmosphere. That storyline fit better to me. How it was so tragic. The whole game is just tragic. And I get maybe they didn't want to have it be a complete downer the entire show, so they wanted to have this kind of one hopeful moment where Bill and Frank, it worked out for them, and then it goes back to tragedy. But one thing about The Last of Us, whether you play one game or both games, it is relentlessly, dauntingly tragic. Like it never feels good. The couple of moments you get to have hope, it's pulled out from you. Like that's like an underpinning of the game for me. So this game, I mean, this episode still ends sad.
It ends sad, but
not
like
really. It is a hopeful moment. It's a successful relationship ending for all intents and purposes. And I would have liked the tragic ending better. That's me.
And there is an aspect of the story that I leave with the episode that it at least builds upon a different character. It eventually helps build upon Joel because again, the whole aspect of Bill being so narcissistic, not really liking people, keeping himself away, not caring about the world coming to an end, and like his whole thing about grasping onto something and finding a reason to keep going on and find the good in things, that, and at least when the story it converts over to Joel and him and or Tess and the Bill and Frank story kind of help him again, grasp onto something, find something good.
I think the game direction actually sold that better because when they get to Bill, you see how terribly broken Bill is. It is such a testament that you need to open up, otherwise you're going to destroy the other people in your life, and it's going to ruin your relationships. Like that's the picture that Bill represents in the game, and that's like the big red flag with Joel being like, well, I should probably open up with Ellie a little more, be a little more trusting. Like, that's what stems it. I'm not saying you don't get that same feeling with the way they ended the show, but I don't know if it hits quite as hard. Granted, that letter they have where he references Tess, that I think does punch it home a little more, but I don't know. I still lean that the tragedy was a better direction to also get Joel kind of kicked off in the direction he needs to go as a character, but no.
That's what I was just saying. Oh, good.
I was going to say, what do you think, Metal, about episode 3?
Since I haven't played the game, that's why it's kind of nice to hear everyone's opinion.
Yeah.
I knew about the whole tragedy of Bill from the game because one of my friends, he told me about it before I saw it, so I was already aware of it. I personally thought it was an interesting backseat on a slice of life during a lack of a better word, hopeless situation. You think about it as like, oh, this guy is like, obviously to himself, he doesn't care about anybody else. He pretty just wants to just survive, and he finds this guy and he'd rather kill him, but then he doesn't. Um, and then all of a sudden it just ends up becoming the way it does. Um, I wasn't neither against it, and whether it was better, I think a tragedy would have been better. I think from what you guys are saying, the game version it tells it better, and I think
Well, it leaves a lot more to the
them
imagination too. Like the whole thing with Frank, like Bill in the game doesn't even really tell you about it at first. Like it kind of just gets slowly opened up as Joel kind of probes them. And then
Yeah,
games are
like
better
about the
about
game version.
environmental storytelling. Like
right,
you find a letter, you find a thing, and like
Mhm.
that kind of builds on it. So honestly, you could have gone through
Right.
that section and had almost no understanding of Bill and Frank's relationship.
Right.
Or you
Like
spend more time and you get the details.
yeah,
Well,
it
there was
sounds like it wouldn't even matter either way. This was just a like kind of like
Filler episode.
a filler episode. It's a
Mhm.
filler, yeah. It's a filler episode, and I can see why they did that, and it does lead into the next thing, which is perfectly fine because they needed all that crap anyway. Because they needed the vehicle, they needed the weaponry, whatever, what have you. I guess Joel goes there and they expect him to be alive when they're not. And in the
real
game he is.
See,
real
I would
quick.
have liked.
Oh,
Oh,
good.
I
No, I
was
was
I
gonna
would have liked.
say,
Oh,
finish your thought. Good.
I was just saying I would have liked a little bit more, like how 2 leads into 3. I would have liked more of that, and they kind of just skipped to this guy's property, and been like, oh, you know,
Kind of, yeah, I could see where you go with it
kind
because
of
they
how
didn't
like the
say
game did
anything in
it.
the second one at all, at all. And I mean, people with the controversy, they're complaining about freaking the girl kissing her and doing whatever.
You cut out for
You
a minute.
know,
I didn't hear what you said.
oh, I said, if it, you know, people are complaining about the whole like, you know, girl clicker coming over, kissing Tess in the
Oh,
mouth,
that's right.
and then
It wasn't a
this
girl.
comes
It was a
about.
guy clicker.
Was it a
It was a
guy
guy
clicker?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
It
male
was just the
clip.
whole quote unquote sexualization of that act people had an issue with.
Whatever. Either way, it's so dumb. Like a lot
Real
of it just ends up. It's like everyone has their own agenda to push across.
Yeah, real
Yeah,
quick
it's true.
in chat, I just wanted to recognize Nox Arden. They just said, "Ugh, I was expecting zombies and action for episode 3, and I ended up crying. I really like the changes from the game. I really appreciated seeing the life of a survivalist that ended up being right." They also said, "Plus, in any pandemic, there's people outside the government that are still privileged, so it was interesting to see Frank and Bill are living the married life while everyone else is fighting." So thank you so much, Nox Arden. We appreciate your input there.
That is very true because like again you take a back seat and you kind of see what's going on and during this whole entire thing they're while everyone else is freaking getting infected and or killing themselves or freaking blowing up or trying to escape from one of those QZ zones, like and
And
those guys all they needed to do was just sit there and just protect their
Set
town
their traps
pretty
up
much.
and watch people get head
Yeah,
blown
and just watch everyone get destroyed and burned. Like that I thought was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because and then Joel comes in and he goes, I can help you out with that. That's I give only that thing that
and
I should
if
hire you as
can-
Joel Metal. Oh, that was good.
it's
if I can't just mention about like for me, like the aspect of Bill and Frank, the aspect of two males, coming together in the episode. I think where it's trying to think of how to word this. where I can kind of understand how it fits in the plot is just saying that like when you're in a post-apocalyptic world when everything is gone where you don't come across people that often, it's understandable how like you're just grasping for a relationship with somebody. You're just looking for someone to love because it's a loveless world basically. So the fact of them two coming together, I feel like, for me it's whatever is what I'm saying. It's just like you're in such a terrible world. It's like you're reaching for camaraderie. You're reaching for, especially, I don't know, for someone like him who it seems like his whole life has already been kind of sheltered or kept himself away from people. I don't know. It at least, again, for me, it at least like told a story of like somebody who, is going through changes, opened up to things
and survived, had a full life fully, like with no. I mean, obviously there were hiccups, but and cabin fever, obviously.
I think when it comes to that aspect, that's the one aspect of the episode that like if I were to drop down a point or two, if I was grading it, that I would be like, it's the believability aspect of them being able to stay alive for as long as they did in that fashion, because it's like,
I'm surprised they didn't get raided long before then.
I'm
I can understand how they would have been protected from the clickers long term, but people long term, especially how long they were there. Like that didn't seem super realistic to me.
Especially how like Joel and them found them and everything. How did nobody else find them?
And there's so many other, like when we get to episode 4, there are clearly large groups of people going out raiding and trying to take over areas. Like that's what you would be doing in this type
militias.
of
it's like full militia, like armies, and like
and the fact they only had like 4 random dudes show up at their fence to get lit on fire, like that should have been like 100 people that
should have. I agree.
Well, no. That's understandable to me, but what's not understandable is if they were intelligent raiders with any sense of intelligence, what they would have done is when they realized, hey, this is a problem, we can't get past this. What would have happened is once 1 or 2 people of their people died, they would have retreated, gone back to their base, and been like, we need to bring more people. And we need to
That's what I'm saying. They would have come back with hundreds of people, however much.
Yeah, that's the part that for me is like, you wouldn't just keep... What's the lemmings? They wouldn't have just lemming themselves.
And I think that's why I don't like this happy ending so much, partially because it doesn't feel right for this world. Like, this world is so brutal, and people are so malicious, and that's the kind of thing that should have happened in this. They would have got raided, or something terrible would have happened. Like,
once one person died, they would have been like, oh, we need to prepare, bring a truck, just drive a semi through the gate or something, And
that was my biggest complaint about the episode, like exactly what you're saying, Chad. It was too happy for me. It was like it was too, for the world that they're in, like you're saying, it definitely needed to be. I was used to the dark ending from the game, and that's kind of what I was expecting.
And I could be wrong. It's been so long since I played that part of the game, but like when you got to that town in the game, it wasn't this picturesque little slice of, suburban America. Right. It was this rundown little village that most people would probably just pass over and not want anything to do with, which made a lot more sense, because then if there were raiders, they would probably pass right by it. There'd be nothing of interest besides just some random scavenging. But in the show, they represent this as this pristine, valuable piece of commodity, right? So raiders would want to take this little town for their own. So I think making it more enticing and then making the raiders more dumb, like that didn't mesh well for me. I know what they were trying to do from a storytelling standpoint, and kudos for them. It was a well written story. It was well produced, but something about that just didn't fit well to me. Maybe it's just because I had the tragic ending in my mind the whole time. It just didn't fit.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I still feel like I'm nitpicking. Like ultimately, for me, the acting and the story for the episode was, for me, it was enough for me to be like willing to throw my, logic senses out because I enjoyed it so much. But I agree. To me, that didn't make sense. And also, like, Bill is supposed to be a badass who like is super smart at shooting guns, and like he's getting attacked by multiple raiders, and
he's on the middle of the road.
In the middle.
Why is he not up on the second floor of his house shooting out of a window? Like,
there's a couple points that are like, I get it. You got to have him getting shot.
You want a moment, yeah.
He could have gotten shot in the house. Like what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Real quick. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Knox Arden in chat says, I liked Joel's and Bill's relationship in the show and how it explained how they got to know each other, because in the game, it was just like Bill owes Joel a favor and that's it. Yeah. They also say it's comical how much luck Frank and Bill had. Bill laid out a trap and ended up with a husband, and they got raided like once in 16 years. I like the happiness, but I see why others didn't.
What's
Yeah.
interesting about that is that, like, I think the relationship was that, oh, he kept sending him meds as well. Like the that was the whole thing, right? Like he helped him out, and then, oh, call Joel, call Joel. Oh, it's like
Mm.
calling him to get medicals to help him out. At least that's what the only reason why they even stayed alive for as long as they did,
Yeah.
from what it seems like.
And
So
I'm
I mean, I
not,
don't think there was any payback, because the payback was already there. Like
and
Joel
also,
helped him out, and then they just were able to. His payback was, here's all my stuff.
Yeah, well, it was him kind of
I
like
never
paying
liked.
it forward so that Joel could protect his own, because Bill had
Yeah,
learned the importance of protecting the people you care about. So that was it.
right.
Wasn't a I owe you thing. It was
Yeah,
Joel. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to be a better person, kind of thing.
just
pretty much.
one other illogical thing that it's something that I keep saying in every episode, but like this whole weird illogical Joel, how weird he is when it comes to guns. It's like they go into the basement and there's an entire wall filled with guns, and Ellie's like, we should take
Yeah.
one, or let me have one, or we should take all these, and Joel's like, no.
You would trust a 10-year-old with a firearm?
No, I'm saying
I mean,
his like
and that
his
leads us to
no,
episode 4.
no, I'm saying how like nonchalant he is about guns. It's like, dude, take those guns, put them in your trunk.
How's he
No,
gonna
look
store
at
all
it from
those
his
guns?
perspective. But look
Well,
at
he had a bunch of guns in the.
He did grab
in-
guns.
He
but
put them
in-
in the thing, and in episode 4 they said, "Oh, and this freaking truck is loaded."
Yeah,
Like,
it's
Oh,
not like he
did they?
didn't.
Oh, okay.
And it could have been
Yeah.
other
Oh,
supplies too.
and-
Like he doesn't need to take 100 guns. If he takes even 10 guns, that's a lot of guns for 2 people.
But in the post apocalypse, coming across a stash like that is probably like hitting the lottery.
but
Like
Oh.
that's
yeah,
like
What's your
from
goal
Joel's-
though? Like,
But Joel's perspective from giving a kid a gun, you gotta remember what the crap that Joel has seen, and the things that he's done. He doesn't want this kid to experience what he's already experienced.
he already
And-
said that. He goes, "You shouldn't have seen this kind of stuff," and then she even mentions it.
Yeah, she does.
Early
In the
on, she
fourth,
goes-
what she mentioned in the 4th episode, but
Mhm.
back in the 3rd episode when they see where they see everything.
yeah, no, I think his, reaction is understandable. Whether you're thinking about it from not wanting to get Ellie involved, and we didn't see exactly how many guns he took, but they acted like he was well supplied. I mean, there's various reasons you wouldn't want to run around with 100 guns.
forgive me,
okay,
I didn't
totally.
hear anybody say the truck was loaded. I assumed he left all of the guns. And I was
Yeah,
like,
it was one of the raiders or
It
whatever.
was the
when they went
raider.
to Kathleen or whatever. They said, "Yeah, we found a truck fully loaded."
oh,
Now, when they
or
said
whatever.
loaded, that doesn't necessarily mean it was loaded with guns. It was loaded with
Right.
supplies. So that could
Yeah.
have been food. That could have been resources, for like
and
camping.
then also
whatever.
there was the part where I also it further put me on that point, because there's a part where in the 2nd episode or 4th episode where he's aiming the gun at the guy on the ground, and he pulls his gun away and pulls his knife out, and I'm like, again, you have all those guns. I don't know. Again, that just
Saving
what I
bullets,
was
man.
thinking.
Yeah, well, it means a resource commodity. Because remember, at that point too, he didn't have access to his truck the same way. They were going to have to leave that. They weren't going to haul all that ammo with them. So now they were on. I need to reserve or preserve as much ammo as possible. They may not have given off their location by firing another, gun off in the
And
middle of a building. So
Okay, on that
And he
point,
probably
let's go
also
ahead
didn't
and,
want. Oh yes, go ahead.
as I say, let's just move on to 4, episode
no,
4.
no, I want to berate your point as long as I possibly can.
Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
how dare you
Well,
disagree with
that's-
me on something?
That's what I was gonna say. Episode 4. I think the other reason why he chose the knife was because he didn't want Elle to hear the gunshot.
Yeah.
That to me, that's what I would think. Because she already shot the guy, and he doesn't know that she's never. That he at this point he doesn't know He thinks that's the first time she's ever saw
Mhm.
somebody. So he's probably like, well, if I shoot this guy or whatever, she's gonna hear it and think of the worst, versus let her. Maybe he let him live, maybe he didn't.
I don't know if there was any illusion that he let
Yeah,
him live. Because you clearly heard him go.
Yeah.
"Ugh." So,
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, I don't disagree with that. There's, I think, various reasons why he wouldn't have shot the guy to finish him off at the end, and you can kind of take your, opinion on which route it was. But no,
I think Joel just enjoyed it. He did it for fun.
I'm sure that's
Well,
it.
whatever it was, it gave off their location too, because that you were right about that. Like
Brian,
she
they
shot.
found Brian.
Yeah, they found
So-
Brian, and that was
if
it.
I can-
Done.
If I can throw this in, I know I just came off talking all positive about 3, I actually felt like 4 was a bit of a was nowhere near as good as the first 3.
Are you
I
kidding?
feel like
That's my
4.
favorite
Actually,
episode.
actually, 4 was really damn good. As a
I
matter of
thought
fact, I thought it was too short. I thought it was gonna be like
Yeah.
more. I
I
saw
agree.
them get freaking gunpoint, and all of a sudden it's
Mhm.
like end. It's
I
like
know.
No, I agree 4 was too short. I'm just saying I still think in
I
terms
think
of
it was
what happened, I feel like it was probably my least favorite episode of the 4. I
really
think
that was
it's
my.
the
I felt
most
my
I thought it was
first.
pretty
I think
good.
it's the most disposable episode so far.
Disposable? I don't want to say
Well,
disposable.
Dark, yo. That's
Dude,
that's a hell of
to
a
me
word
it
to
felt
choose.
you
to
just
me it felt
like
like the most television-y oriented episode so far.
it.
And I
It
think
was
why I got that feeling is because I didn't necessarily like the Kathleen and Pierce, or not Pierce, but the whole Kathleen aspect. Like I actually feel like I don't know if the game does this, but for something like the situation that that group and military is in, I feel like it would be more entertaining to not know who the leader was. And I don't necessarily, I didn't feel drawn to Kathleen or their plight or blight or plight. Is that a different blight and
Plight.
plight? Are those
Plight is what
different
you want
words?
to say.
Oh yeah.
So the game, there's no like singular entity of bad guys. Like they crash their truck, there's those raiders there trying to take them down,
It was
and that's
supposed to be
pretty much
Raiders,
it.
right?
Yeah.
I
They
but I
know,
felt
aren't.
like
I felt that too when I saw it. I was like, "Those gotta be Raiders," but
Well,
they
here's like in the
weren't.
game, they are just kind of nondescript bad
right.
people.
That
and
makes
I
Right.
like
sense.
that.
This
I like
game
that.
is, well, not game.
Yeah.
The show is trying to spin it where they were these rebels that took down that
A
Fedra.
military
Yeah,
compound,
yeah.
the
yeah.
QZ zone.
And I
They took
think
them
what they're
down.
trying to do, and do you guys ever watch the little extended sections at the end of the episode where they talk
No, I
about?
never.
Why they
never
chose
watched.
to
Well,
go that route?
yeah, and they kind of explain that they're trying to show that a lot of times, even though the righteous rebels try to take over, or take down these military establishments with good cause, a lot of times they end up being just as bad or worse. I think that's what
Yeah.
they're trying to do is
Yeah.
show how the good has turned bad in this situation. Even though they were just survivors trying to rebel against a authoritative whatever, they're now the ones that are killing innocent people that just crash their truck into a wall, stuff like that. So.
And if you notice, their vehicles said like freedom. I forgot what it said. That their trucks was like freedom of other people or something.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
It was one of the first things I noticed that was spray painted on the side, and I was all
Yeah.
like, "That's interesting." And you're over here shooting people that come in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't
feels
really
a little.
like the Kathleen.
Oh, go ahead. I'm
Feels
sorry.
what?
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your sentence because I wanted to talk about Kathleen really quick.
I was just gonna say I'm having a hard time connecting with this group with this extra elaboration. Like in the game, I kind of appreciated they were just nondescript raiders. That made sense. The fact that they were acting like, oh no, these random people have killed one of our own, like they're these innocent, righteous
Just
group
assumed it was this
who
group.
started the whole incident by trying to trick Joel and Ellie to pull over so they could attack. I'm like, that's not meshing well for me.
Well,
And
that's what I meant by this episode feeling more like regular television, feeling more Walking Dead-y, is because I felt like the building upon of that military base of the people, trying to humanize them. I didn't feel I feel like they're humanizing and trying to build characterization just to build up some other side plot or some when it's like, no, I care about Joel and Ellie, and there were a lot of times when it would cut from them and it would go to her threatening the poor old doctor guy
doctor.
and the
Honestly,
thing, and I'm like,
they're making it
there
hard
are
to
moments-
sympathize with her.
Well, honestly, if they
Yeah.
hadn't did the ambush, like the way with the guy running out asking for help, and then
Yeah.
the way it was so obvious that it was an ambush,
Oh yeah, totally.
and then they just started shooting at him, it would have been a lot more believable. I feel like they should have left the guy out, and then them driving through, and then them they start taking shots.
Yeah.
That would have made
Yeah.
sense because then they would have been like, "Oh, that's a threat," you know.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't like I like the fact that there are raiders. I'm just saying I think it's more entertaining if you just don't know. If you just focus in on Joel and Ellie and like you still see the raiders, but I don't need all the backstory. Like it's a post-apocalyptic world. Like there are people that are just trying to get goods, or
Yeah.
they're being bad. Like I don't.
I'm
Yeah.
not opposed to them giving the backstory because thus far, that's actually been one of the best things about the show is they have taken the time to give it backstory. So I still want to give them the benefit of the doubt on this. I don't inherently agree, or I mean, disagree that the new characters they're presenting here are all that appealing or sympathetic just yet. I'm not sure if that's even what they're trying to do. I want to give them one more episode though before I make that kind of call.
That's what I was going to say. I think they kind of needed a protagonist because right now they don't have a protagonist. Yes, you got the infected, but there's no actual
Antagonist.
Yes, there's an antagonist. I'm sorry. Yeah,
I was going to say they definitely have protagonists here.
Yeah, that's what I meant. They didn't there's no designated antagonist right now, and I felt like they probably needed that, and so this is what they threw at us.
Yeah, I think they're gonna fight a hard battle here though, because like if you watch those little ending segments, Neil Druckmann is like, I love when I can try to humanize villains. So he's clearly looking at this group as the villains, trying to make them more sympathetic. But here's the thing: it's already been a bad start with the way that they got ambushed. And two, I don't know how much you guys know about the game, but the characters at the end that hold the gun on Joel and Ellie, Henry and his little brother, those are incredible, good characters. Like they're not villainous at all. So anything that's going to be, on the opposite side of that conflict is always going to be viewed in a bad light. So this group, I think it's going to be really hard to redeem because Henry and his brother, man, you're rooting for them, at least in the game. Okay. And then I don't want to go deep down that just yet.
Not to repeat a point, but I felt like they were introducing like television oriented villains where it's like, I didn't need it, That's all I was saying. It just felt like they were Saturday morning villain.
Yeah, that's fair. And here's the thing too: these are not. I can't imagine going to be long-term villains. Like they'll be around for one more episode. But the whole game, the whole point is that it just keeps on moving. You meet somebody and then you leave them behind. Very rarely, there are some exceptions, does an old character pop back up. So these guys I don't think are going to hang around.
Yeah.
I did see someone on a podcast say they should have named her Karen, not Kathleen.
What's
She
funny?
Was giving off Karen vibes.
I do agree with the fact that like the whole thing felt like that whole ambush felt like a raider ambush. Like no matter how you slice it, that was a raider ambush, and the way they just kind of laid it out was kind of like weird. But then they switch over to that scene with her with the doctor, and it's just like, what are you doing?
She goes, yes.
Yeah, she's like, it's like, oh, don't make me. Oh, don't make. Are you getting this like nice looking person to do something so mean? First off,
well, I think
teary-eyed too.
She's not even like really good at it. Like it sucks.
Well,
I think to make that work, you've got to know more about that backstory. Like, why are they worried about Henry escaping? Why is it so crucial that she has to kill this old dude to get that information? Like, they didn't give any of that in this episode, which makes it really hard, I think, to get on their side.
Okay, so that's why. Okay, that makes a little sense. So the
this
person
episode
at the end is Henry. Is that so? What
the older guy's Henry?
So
the name of the younger brother's slipped my mind.
They're searching for those.
I have it in the notes. It's Henry
okay,
and,
that makes sense to me now because I didn't even know who the hell.
It's Sam. Sam.
Right. This could have been an episode they really probably should have made longer. Like they made the Bill and Frank episode like what was it, like an hour and 30 minutes
15.
or something. It was long. They should have extended this one because I think if they could have meshed it all together into one kind of cohesive whole before moving on, I think I probably could have understood Kathleen and their stuff a little more, maybe had some sympathy. But because they're separating it and I see the characters and kind of the sides they're taking with Henry and Sam, I'm going to have a hard time. Even if they give me the backstory next time, I've already made up my mind at this point. So I don't know. We'll see.
Real quick, Nox Arden also in chat said, I didn't like the Kathleen aspect. I only liked episode 4 because of the Joel and Ellie moments and their bond growing stronger. Oh, I totally forgot to mention the bond.
Yes.
I ignored everything else.
Bonding was fantastic.
Said that in the game, the joke with the
diarrhea.
Diarrhea. I laughed in the game.
You actually get to see Joel smile for freaking once throughout the entire thing up to this point. It's like, hey, you smiled. You actually laughed. Like you actually are a person. You're just not like dead from the neck up.
You gotta remember, the guy lost his daughter. He lost his brother.
I know. Well, we don't know if he lost his brother.
And also another thing I just thought about is I totally forgot I had notes this whole time. Another thing I totally forgot about is this is the first time where they actually say Joel's age. He says he's 56, and I didn't realize. I'm like, wow, that's pretty old. I can see why he's like so tired, and I don't know.
Yeah, he only made it 34 flights of stairs. Wimp.
Man, the elevator's out at work, and I'm having to go like 3 flights of stairs, and I'm dying. So
you always skip leg day. Come on,
man.
Also, we have one more chat. Let me go back. I just
I
looked
completely
away.
forgot about those moments.
Nox Arden also in chat says, I wish I saw the whole Raider storyline from Henry and Sam's point of view rather than Kathleen and Pierce.
And see, that's what's going to happen. Is next episode, we're going to get Henry's take, and we're all going to immediately jump on board with that. I can guarantee, unless they really chain Henry and Sam as a character, we're going to jump on their side, and then it's going to be real hard for the other side to be redeemed after that.
It definitely sounds like this should not have been a separate two-parter. This should have been...
Give it an extra 30 minutes. I think they could have probably added enough into it. And they've already extended all the other episodes, so why not?
Because what happens in the next episode, I guarantee, is going to be a lot of stuff you're expecting.
I don't see why.
This area is treading more towards the game, so I have a feeling they're going to follow a lot of those kind of plot points pretty closely. But
well, what they even say it towards the end, like, you know, they're specifically picking points to deviate from. So then they can deviate from it, do whatever, and then come right back. That's all they're doing.
I'll be very sad if they change the way the Henry and Sam stuff turns out. Like, if I
doubt they will. I really don't think.
I think that's too pivotal of a moment. So
what's the writer? I forgot the writer's name. What's his
the Chernobyl guy?
Main guy. What's his
Druckmann?
Yeah, Neil Druckmann. I forgot he did specify as to, like, he said something to the avail of, like, for the most part, he's going to follow the game's plot lines and story, but he said something like,
unless they can think of something better.
Unless they can think of something that's either as good or better. Mm-hmm. That's the only time they will drift. Now, again...
That's subjective, though.
That's subjective, though. Yeah. If he thinks everything he thinks of is better or more entertaining, then he could change a heck of a whole lot. So.
And you gotta think, this is a creator thing, too.
I haven't really been disappointed from the games. Like...
It hasn't been bad, but that train of thought can be a little tricky. Not that you shouldn't have creative liberty here, but creators do this all the time when they go back and look at their old works with a fresh mind. They are in a completely different mindset sometimes and think very differently. Like, look at George Lucas Special Edition Star Wars. Like, I don't want to see that.
Look at what was it? Was it E.T. with the walkie-talkies rather than the guns?
Yeah, so just because he thinks it's better now doesn't mean it's really better. But so far, the show has been really solid. Even the changes they made have been either understandable or I can see where they're going with it. So they have not gone the Halo route just yet. So I'm very, very proud of them.
We're not seeing butt cheeks and military mistakes being made. So.
All right, any other comments?
All right. So, yeah. Once again, thank you so much, Nox Arden, for adding to our conversation there.
Yeah, we had someone talk to us. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Come watch us
more.
See, having a live show can be good. So
when I'm in charge, see what happens.
I'm looking forward to the next episode, though.
Yeah.
So.
No, I am.
And it airs Friday. It's not airing Sunday. Because of the Super Bowl, they're airing it early.
Yep.
Yeah. Super Bowl.
Do you think the next episode's going to be short as well, just to kind of wrap up this little plot line?
I don't think it will be because there's with Henry. If they're going by up the game, I think there's a lot of information that we're gonna learn. I don't want to spoil it if they go based off the game. So
I feel like because there's still a lot to do in the game. Like the show's taking its time, which is good. I still don't know. Has anybody found any information how many episodes this is going to be?
I thought it was 7 or 8.
It's going to be like 9 or something like that.
7 or 8 is not enough to get through the game. So I mean, unless maybe they're thinking they're going to end.
Be wrong. I don't remember.
I think that's where I'm starting to get kind of curious. Is the point of this first season to? Well, they've already said they're going to do a season 2. I thought initially season 1 would be the first game, season 2 could be the second game, but if they're really padding it out, that means they're probably going to find a breaking point in the first game, and then season 2 is going to have to finish it, and I don't know how I feel about that. But point being, if they have any shot of keeping up with the pace of the first game, they've got to wrap up all the Henry and Sam stuff in the next episode, which means it needs to be a fairly long episode, I think.
The season's going to end with, like, Abby showing up or something
I don't think
weird.
It can.
I'm joking.
No, it can't. I can only think of maybe one place in the game that it could like kind of have like a cut and then there's a season 2, but really the game doesn't have a good ending until the ending, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I'm gonna be kind of disappointed. I think one way or the other, if this first season does not encapsulate the whole first game, but we'll see.
Knox Arden in chat says, "Laughy face. I can't wait for the next episode. I hope not." I think they're responding to me saying 50 minutes. So I hope not. I can't wait to see the show, see how the show deals with Henry and Sam. They said 9 episodes is what
9, and
They-
this was
that's what
I
episode
was looking
4. I'm trying to do a mental kind of block out of what's left in the game, because like the next episode's got to do the Henry and Sam stuff. They've got the travel to his brother, and there's stuff that happens after that. Ooh, they might be able to do the whole game in 9 episodes. That
They're
seems
doing
tight.
hour episodes. If they're doing hour, 15.
They'll have to have some long
episodes.
ones.
Yeah.
Like I bet
They
the
can't have a
finale
45-minute
will be the finale will probably be close to 2 hours. I imagine it's got to be.
Yeah.
They
They gotta have it. They can't be pulling that 45-minute crap and leaving people with cliffhangers. That was not cool.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
We'll see. I'm less
Sucked.
confident now. They're gonna finish the whole game in one season. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Of course, why would they want to? To be honest, they probably want this to go fairly long. That's way more
long as
profitable for them,
possible.
right?
Oh, this is
So
a
if they
money
can,
maker. You
if
kidding
they can
me?
stretch the first game into 1 and 2 seasons, and then have the second game to be a couple of seasons, that's 4 seasons, baby, of extra money coming in. So
They got a lot riding on this. Like really, like a game adaptation for a TV show, like that. A lot of that stuff normally doesn't fly. This time, it's actually decent. Like it's actually good.
yeah,
So they have a lot riding on. If they start pulling weird stuff, and they're gonna lose people quick.
Guess we'll
Actually,
see.
I don't comment much on Twitter stuff, but I saw some. I had to. There was one guy talking about how bad the show was, and was like, "This is garbage tier television." And I was like, I just commented under. I
Can't
was
please
like,
anybody.
if you think this is butt level television, you should go. You should go watch the Rings of Power and the Halo show. And that it's like
That person
That-
probably loves those shows. Like they're
Or
probably
Game
like,
of
"Oh my
Thrones.
gosh, amazing!"
Game of Thrones last
He's
season.
just
or
trolling.
something.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
probably
Dude,
was
there's-
trolling.
There is worse television. I'm sorry. Like the internet is so weird. Like,
Like
you have
Breaking
such
Bad,
highs-
that was probably the worst. I'm just
Don't,
kidding.
don't make me jump through this.
Oh
stream.
boy.
Dude, there's worse television out there. Believe me. Go watch Gotham. I don't know. There's worse. There's
Oh,
worse.
come on. I love Gotham.
Uh,
All right, we're wrapping up.
yeah, we can. So that's our conversation. We'll come back in 2 weeks, and we'll talk episodes 5 and 6. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank you, Noxard. Once again, you really contributed to our conversation here.
Yeah. Great guy. Or
So what do
gal.
we got planned for next episode? So we got
2 more episodes of Last of Us.
hmm
I'm sure a million other things will pop up.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not planning on playing a lot of games right now, so I can't think of anything I'll have for my.
Oh, I'm gonna play
what you're playing.
Hogwarts. I forgot. I'll
Okay,
have
so we can
Hogwarts.
have a good
Yeah,
I'll be able to talk.
Hogwarts retrospective.
I'll be playing Hogwarts as well. Yeah.
I'll go get it this weekend. I need something. I'm off
Did you-
Saturday, so.
You
Did
gotta
you
work
still
on your
wanna
next
just-
Dragon Ball video.
Oh, I am gonna start a new one this weekend.
I was gonna say you still want to do like that whole like anime movie thing or whatever. That's still in the books. I'm thinking, right?
But just choose an anime. I actually, to
If
be
you
honest,
want, oh, go ahead.
when I threw out the kung fu thing,
Oh
like,
yeah.
that sounds kind of fun. Talk like Jet Li's the
Kung Fu.
one, or we could talk about Drunken Master, Kung Fu Hustle, Kung Pao. I don't know. I thought
I'd
that
do
was
that.
fun.
One thing I would do if you're really trying to get into like Dragon Ball Z, I'd be up for watching Dragon Ball Z again. I'll start the whole thing over, and we can actually kind of talk
Oh,
about it on
man.
cast, and then that will give you some.
I just
ammo.
finished it. I loved
If
it.
we do that, you're forcing me to start my Dragon Ball Z.
Why do you think I'm suggesting it?
episodes.
Excursions.
I love
All
it.
right. Well,
Oh my
if
god.
down in
I-
chat, let me know if you guys think that is agreeable.
Or any of them.
Oh, that actually reminds me. Since we're talking Dragon Ball, if you don't know, I recently posted a review for Dragon Ball Curse of the Blood Rubies. Go check that out if you have any interest in seeing me nerd out about Dragon Ball. But yeah, I like that idea. We can touch on that.
We'll
I'll
workshop
have to
it.
get
We'll
my
come up with something.
I'll have to get my OBS skills now.
I was gonna say,
I'll
get
have to
better.
pick up-
I could take over next week if you want me to, or you can, take on some
I
more
wanna-
responsibility. Up to you.
I definitely want to start figuring it out at least. But yeah, you can. I'll get better.
You can't be
I-
saying those
I-
bad things about him anymore.
So
I will.
I'm
I
just
will
gonna
say
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is recently with my new PC I went to a 2-monitor setup. This is all it's so quickly I'm already like, dang, I need a third monitor. Like,
so just to let you know, I also recorded everything tonight with all the animations and transitions. So I'll upload that after our conversation.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to make
You're
you struggle.
so nice. You're so
What are you
nice.
Who are you uploading it to?
I'm gonna drop it on the drive, and then you can do what you want to with it. You can either throw it on YouTube and
Oh.
chop it up, or you can just leave yours. But it's got all the backgrounds and all the standard stuff. So.
You're too nice.
Not even gonna worry about it. Why? This is already done. Whatever.
Okay, fine. Make me feel bad. Even worse.
Well, I mean, what is again? This is already done. I'm not gonna delete this and then re-upload.
You
Okay.
can.
Are we still live?
You're still
we
alive.
are
Oh
still
yeah.
live.
Oh
All
yeah.
right, guys. Fairly well.
So
Have a good
everyone, go
night.
back into your parts of the house.
Yeah.
Descend or ascend wherever you're at.
I'm going up. Bye.
But as always, that was the EnteR ChazmaN podcast. What is this, episode 28 at this point? Sheesh,
Ugh,
we're almost
too many. Why are we
approaching
still
the,
doing this?
the 30s already. But yeah, do you guys have anything to say before we head out?
No, appreciate being alone.
Yeah.
Adios. Go
Thanks.
get some sleep.
Okay.